It's the Grifter. So it's Marrickville beer. I've got a funny story about the Grifter, actually. I was doing my EP launch in the Factory Theatre. And right next door is the Grifter Beer Company. And because the smart thing to do when you do a launch is when you're a headliner, don't put yourself at the end. You know, because you go, we're going to be the last band, I want to have that ego experience, right? But people take off. Yeah, they leave shows. Yeah. So the prime spot's around 9:30. So put yourself on as the second last, third last band. Yeah. And you're the headliner and you've got supporting acts either side. That's the smart way to do a show because you'll have the best audience experience.
Absolutely. It's ridiculous when people are just like, no, we're the headliner. We're the biggest band here. Like, you're going to be here till 1 o'clock, you fucking idiot.
Yeah, man. Opening shows is great as well. Love opening a show. But I heard a party happening when I was having a dart outside the theatre. And I went to go and investigate this party. And it turns out they were having a launch of a Grifter beer. So I went in and I drank 10 beers. As you do at a beer launch. And I totally forgot that I had a gig. I didn't forget, but I lost track of time that I had a gig on. And everyone's out looking for me. Like, where the fuck is Ross, man? Got this fucking show to launch. Where the fuck is he? And I bust in with a crew from the fucking... the Grifter factory.
Oh. You've made friends. You've been there long enough to make friends.
Yeah. And I stroll on in there, and they're like, "Fuck, man, we're on in 5 minutes. Where the fuck have you been?" And then, I put on my fur coat and did my stage entrance, and that was a lot of fun. Yeah, but they put me on a Grifters, man. They're fucking great from Marrickville. Totally recommend them. Expensive but fun.
Look, they're no Hawkeys.
Oh, I should have got some Hawkeys actually.
$19 a 6-pack. That's killer. That's so good.
Well, these are $20 a 4-pack.
And when you get, have you ever got soap or anything from Lush in the bottle, body wash, and on the back they got a sticker of this person made that. And during COVID, what got me through that first 3 weeks was the cartoon picture of that hot lady that made my soap.
Oh yeah.
And so then when you get Hawkeys, you'll have a Hawkey and oh yeah, that's him.
It just tastes like patriotism. Yeah. Democratic patriotism in a can. Hawkeys, mate. Actually, can you pull that mic a little bit closer to you there, Scotty?
Oh, for real?
Yeah, man, for real.
Jeez.
For shizzle.
Okay.
I mean, you just want to jump in? You want to jump in? We're already kind of in, right?
Yeah.
And welcome to the Pagey Train. Today I have in the studio with me Scotty Belshaw, artist, political commentator, all-round funny dude. Welcome to the show.
There you go.
Oh, man, it's been a hell of a year, man. It's been a hell of a year. I know that this year, don't get me wrong, I've changed my political persuasion for different politicians, but this year I'm definitely been a Labor and Albo supporter.
I'm so glad you're really good at spruiking that.
Oh man, the loose unit was the one that I found absolutely fucking awesome.
How do they think that was going to fuck him up?
Someone was smart enough to put a dart in his mouth.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, can we pull that up straight away? Let's just do a bit of a tribute to Albo. Can you pull up loose unit Albo and get me an image, man? Getting in. I suppose I think we did predict in our last show a bit, pretty well the rollout of how this happened with the Teals and with the the Libs. The one on the left, man. One on the far left.
I want that T-shirt.
I want that T-shirt.
I don't want to fuck Albo, but that's a pretty good T-shirt.
Yeah, PM, loose unit. That's a guy that you went to the beach with to go surfing to smoke bongs,
I've never done any of those things, I'll have you know.
Well, there's a famous game I like to play with my friends when we go on holidays.
Yeah.
Especially to beach locations, and we call it Find the Bong. So if we go to a beach location, we always go for a bushwalk, get in touch with nature. And you'll always walk through parks and, walkways and viewpoints. And at that point you go, let's play Find the Bong. And I believe that I've always won. I don't think anyone's ever found it before me.
Look, planting the bong doesn't count.
Well, the thing is, you go, okay, so there's a log there, and clearly people smoke there before they go surfing, and I reckon they won't. It's either under the log or it's behind the electricity box. And I go, I'm going to go for the electricity box on this one.
Yeah.
And voila, there she is.
You know what it's like? It's like, you know, those dead people on Everest that they just leave there as waypoints? Like, like some kid just like got way too high and died there. Like mentally died there for 5 hours.
Isn't that incredible though? Going up to, you know, on the walk that you're going to see dead people and they would be referred to in a colloquialism.
Isn't that why people go? Like, why else would you climb a huge hill apart from to see a frozen dead body?
Yeah, well, it's about that human achievement thing that definitely feeds to, I suppose there's the ego element of it.
Yeah.
But I think for a lot of people, it's about the physical element of it, achieving something physically and mentally challenging. I've got a very, very close friend of mine had a choice of... they came to a fork in the road for themselves with their fitness, and they wanted to decide whether to climb Everest or swim the Channel.
Yeah.
And they chose swim the Channel. And I found that an interesting choice, and I said, "Why'd you pick that, man?" And he's like, "Well, everyone climbs Everest."
Like, there's too many cats that have climbed Everest,
It's just
man.
not appealing, man. It's just so colloquial, so average.
What a hipster!
Yeah. He gotta swim the Channel, man. And he did it. He trained and swam it, and
That's killer.
yeah, man. It was mad. Like, he asked everyone, "What should I do next?" I go, "Swim back." Swim there and back. That would be
my body's
hectic.
made for brief ambulation and being prone. That's it.
Brief ambulation. Yeah. I like that. I ambulate a lot. I'm a big ambulator. Big ambulator. And
It's
big
like a Seinfeld skit. Just the more we say, we'll just say ambulation over and over again.
I ambulate. I masticate. Almost slipped there. Almost slipped over on that one.
Almost did, man.
I'm a masticator. I am a ambulator. Oh no! I try to keep my steps up, man. I try to keep my steps up for sure. You know, I like look at Albo. Back to Albo. He went on a fitness breeze before.
Oh, didn't they fucking have a whinge about that?
Strange thing to whinge about.
Yeah.
He's looking too fit. Yeah. Okay.
Scott Morrison was like, "Oh, you know, what you get with me is what you can see." I'm like, what? You've you've cosplayed so many different trade jobs just when you get the photo done. All Albo's done is stop eating fucking spaghetti or some shit.
Yeah, well, Morrison was definitely eclipsing his backbench.
Yeah. Yeah.
For sure. But no, look, man, it's a real shame. I'm actually a bit disappointed with it all, Scott.
Yeah?
Yeah, man. Well, you want you with the coalition, you want, when they're in opposition, you want talent. You want a contrast of argument.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's the job of the opposition, right?
Yeah, it is.
And I think they got so massacred. Like, they lost all their talent. Like, their leader is Dutton, man.
Yeah.
And if Frydenberg didn't get sacked, you know, if he didn't lose his seat, he would be the boss, right? For sure.
I wouldn't underestimate Dutton, though. Like, he's a scary, shrewd motherfucker.
Oh man, absolutely. But look, I think we've delved into this one before. The offshore detention stuff and the security forces for the island detention. A beach shack address for $500 million, nothing to see here, sort of stuff. Not to mention, decisions made in Parliament that are favourable for childcare centre owners rather than childcare centre operators.
Yeah.
And I think that's the contrast, right? If you look at what they're doing with childcare, they're trying to pay workers more, but someone's got to pay for it, right? I mean, everyone gets that. Everyone gets that. But they would rather crunch the industry rather than expand the industry.
I'm like, I don't know. I'm like neither here nor there with it. Or like I'm undecided. Like if we're living in late stage capitalism. I'm so sick of these sob stories, and they're not about small businesses. They're framed as we're having this argument about small businesses. They're not. They're talking about huge businesses and going like, oh, we can't afford to pay people enough. We can't afford to follow these regulations. We can't afford fucking this or that. And like, I didn't think aren't the people that owning these businesses saying to their workers, "Oh no, you got to work hard to get paid. You know, you don't get a handout for nothing." Why are these businesses in late stage capitalism whinging, and why are
institutionalized industry? Really,
it's fucking ridiculous. Like I seen.
No,
the
look
other
at
day,
West Farmers, man. Do they need a handout?
Man, well, they're gonna get one.
Well, they got one during COVID. They got one. They got a $13 billion handout.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. It's like it's this. You can't change a channel, especially during COVID. You could not change a channel without hitting someone from the news saying, "Oh, these poor businesses, you know, they're not doing too fucking well." And it's because it always comes back to the unions as well. Like the other day, I read that there was this crane company, and I don't remember what the name of the company was, but it was.
Well, they usually have funky names, crane companies. Actually, you know, they do. Check them out when you're on the road. They're always like, you know, a pun of some kind. Yeah.
Yeah. But it was like a really, really big one. It was like this inner city crane company, and it was like this huge, huge crane company compared to other crane companies. And
I think the big one is Titan. Titan's one of the big ones.
Could have been that. I don't remember, to be honest. But it was in the news because
sure,
and it was framed as, you know, the unions are going to sink this business because for the third day in a row, workers just went, "Oh, I'm not going in, man. No, I'm not working," because it was union action. It's because they weren't getting paid enough. And then in the news, when they were talking about it, like all these outlets were saying, "Oh, you know, why are these people still striking? They've had a 13% pay increase." The 13% was the 13% that they weren't getting paid. Like they had a deficit of 13% compared with every single other company. And so when the company went, "Oh, we tried to meet them in the middle and give them 13%," like, no, you just gave them like the bare minimum. And then it turned into a thing about EBAs, and the company went, we're not fucking around with the EBAs, they are what they are. And that's when the workers went, "Well, then we're not."
Yeah, well, I think that's totally legit. That's totally legit. But as well, like, I do see the contrast to it. If you look at, you know, the militant wings of political persuasion, for instance, the militant wing of centre-lefts is the construction industry. It is the union movement.
Yeah.
And some of them are nefarious operators. You know, they've got John Setka.
They were...
Standover man.
CFMEU, well, apparently...
Or ex-standover man, allegedly.
CFMEU and Labor were gloating about how they routed the Greens, which doesn't upset me. But isn't that... Even though I'm happy with the outcome, isn't that bad form?
Yeah, oh, totally.
It's
well, everyone forgets the liberal militant wing, though.
And it doesn't help that everyone on the right side of politics is like, "Goddamn unions. Oh, you know, they're evil and they're in the pocket. Labor's in their pocket and stuff." And then when that shit happens, you're like, Thanks, man.
Yeah, it is a shadowy part of it all. And the same with pokey machines, funding leagues, clubs. There's the underbelly of that funding and that process, but people tend to forget about the liberal side of things. Like, do you think that they're just all lawyers and bankers? Like, there's, if a bank has a loan that defaults, how do they repossess your shit, right? So they're sending people out to do that. So they're debt collectors.
Yeah.
So I would argue that if you look at the physical militant wing of the, air quotations, the militant wing, for lack of a better, descriptor, the strong arm of their persuasion is debt collection, man. And that's on behalf of the banks. That's on behalf of lawyers that are suing people to, recoup funds. Yeah. And as well, robo-debt, for instance, that was totally an attack on the small guy, and you've had experience with this, man. I was worried about experience because I was going to university at the time when that all went down, and I was on government benefits whilst being a student, but then I had to calibrate that against my part-time work, and it gets quite fucking complicated, man.
Yeah.
I think I've done it. At the time I thought I'd done it right, but there was that overhanging idea of what if I've done that wrong and they're going to come get me. And
it's because it's so amorphous, the way that, like, if you're on, I hate calling them government benefits. They're not a benefit. They're social security, I think, is a better word.
Totally, yeah. I'd have to agree.
If you're on that form of payment, the way that you report, the way that you get money, or anything to do with it, the way that you engage even with just Centrelink is so amorphous, and it's like picking up wet sand. It's fucked. I remember like when I was studying back in my 20s and I was on Centrelink, and I remember I called them up and I said, oh, you know, I've started work. I don't know how much I'm getting paid, and I know I'm supposed to report right now. I'm just going to report later once I've got my pay slip, so I know.
Yeah, once it's in alignment.
And the lady on the phone is like, no, it's fine. You know, just calculate it yourself. I'm like, well, I do shifts, man, and I'm like, because I'm doing.
It's hard to calculate shifts and gig economy work.
Support, I'm getting different rates for different times of the day and different types of work throughout that day. And I'm like, I can't. And she went, no, it's fine. It's all fine. Don't
it's a
worry
complex
about
learning environment for sure.
That ended up being one of the flags when they got me, like, the second time for robo-debt, which they gave me all the money back because it was bullshit. But it's you know, the institution is not tight enough. Like, it's just this wishy-washy, like, how much did you get paid and when, how many hours. It's just, we talk about, like, during robo-debt, it was all, like, averaging. Like, averaging is a great word because everything about Centrelink and Social Security has always just been to average things, just have a bit of a guess. And
yeah, it's a medium, sure, because it's a generic application to a complex environment.
Yeah, there's no nuance to it with them. Like, I remember asking them with that first robo-debt that I got paid back, which was 10 grand, that lost me. Like, you don't understand, like, waking up every morning, going to bed every night, like, I owe 10 grand, and saying, I know that I don't owe this, and trying to convince people.
Yeah, but the crown is on my back and they want it.
And then depending on who you talk to, some managers, when you say, can I speak to, like, the team leader, they'll say, well, you shouldn't have stolen the money. And you're like, I know I didn't do the wrong thing. I'm spending my entire hour lunch break speaking to you every single day of the week for 6 months to fix this up. Like,
to justify something that was already justified.
It's ridiculous. All this shit, like, all that shit that goes on, it's so hard, and it's hard to describe. It's like, I was joking with a friend and went, like, it's so close to the trial by Franz Kafka, and someone's like, oh, fuck off, you idiot. I'm like, I guarantee I can replace the least amount of words in the trial and it will seem like robo-debt. And I did a couple of pages and a friend went, you're fucking kidding me.
Yeah.
You're fucking kidding me. But when all that shit happened to me, I asked them to send me, you can ask for whatever reports or whatever calculations they have, and they sent me like a ream of papers, like 30 papers, and all of them like this. You can't decipher it. It was all like inside knowledge calculations.
So it
wasn't words and numbers.
Jargon heavy.
Yeah, it was crazy, and like these little graphs and stuff that didn't take into consideration like working credits or anything like that. Like, so you could always say to the government, like, send me the papers on how you calculated this. Good luck figuring out what the fuck it means. Like, at all.
Yeah, generic algorithm across.
If I knew we were talking about this, I would have brought them in. Like, you would look at it and it just looks like...
Well, I bring it up because, like I say, like we talk about the unions, right, as this militant, aggressive thing, right? And another example that Dutton would go to is like, don't forget about pink bats. 4 people died during that.
Oh, for
like, how many people were compromised across the board on robo-debt? That was signed off by Morrison. That was signed off by... what was the Attorney General? It was in a lot of hot water. His name has slipped me. Porter.
Yeah.
Yeah. He, $1 million in an account to do a defamation case undisclosed. Nothing to see.
He gave it to him. I don't fucking know.
Well, we all know who gave it to him.
Yeah.
Certainly media groups of the opposing inclination, allegedly. But this is all okay. This is not militant and adverse negative behaviour, apparently.
Have you seen that, like, now that they're actually looking into robo-debt because they've got, like,
Shorten's killing it, man. He comes out guns blazing.
Thank God it's Shorten, man. Like, because even if people didn't want to vote for him to be the PM, you cannot argue, and I defy people, to argue that he was like just some talking head. He's not. He always gave a shit. You can tell he gave a shit because what he said, he fucking did. And what he said and he couldn't do, he was upset about visibly. And like he's in the perfect fucking spot.
Oh look,
now.
this is
the job for him.
This is a guy that rescued people out of the mines and fighting a mining company about the costing of that and the public relations of that and really forefronting that.
Yeah, he's not Matt Canavan. He's not just rubbed some dirt on his fucking head when I've gone to the mines.
Was it even dirt or was it actual makeup? Who fucking knows, man? You know.
But look, it's
makeup artists have that shit in their bag all the time. Can you dose me up a bit? Make me look a bit rugged.
We're
in the film business, man. That's what we do all the fucking time.
during this Robodebt commission, that like just so quick, the shit they're finding out so quick.
Already knew it was illegal from the get go. They knew it was illegal from the get go.
They had legal advice not to fucking do it, and they went, "Yeah, I'll do it anyway." And
they also had social psychology advice as well.
Yeah, and that's the damning part.
That's the really horrible part.
That they knew...
Because that's outside economics there.
They knew the effect this would have on people.
Yeah.
And I get that if people didn't go through it, it's like this abstract thing. It's like, oh, what, so you owed some money and then eventually you didn't owe some money? Like, I get if people hadn't gone through it and that's like what they take away from it. But honestly... It was one of the darkest times in my life. I lost friends. I lost relationships. I lost my job because I went fucking mental. Like, probably the wrong word.
I remember you going through that rough patch, man.
It was really bad. Like, I had a breakdown. I had a proper breakdown, man. And, like, I couldn't hold a job. Some friends I lost contact with. Intimate relationships I fucking lost. And I... To this day, I have like decreased confidence from it. It's just it has this overarching thing to it where like if you've never been in a situation before, you go, no, I know I didn't do the wrong thing, but something as huge as the government, and we'll say the government, it doesn't sound huge, but like when the government is telling you you've done something wrong and you haven't, and you owe them money, you see how heavy it is. Like it's the government of an entire country.
Let's debate if you didn't pay. Let's just say you didn't pay.
I shouldn't have. You know what? I lost out on $2,000 because I paid that, and they said, "Well, no, that's an admission of owing money."
Yeah, no. Well, the class action's happening, so I dare say there'll be a turnaround on that.
Fuck the class action, man. I tell you what. Who was it? Fucking. It wasn't Stanhope. Who did the class action?
I think it was Stanhope, wasn't it?
I don't think so. But they were fucking. Mary, the pieces of shit, man.
No, Stanhope was I think it was the Banking Royal Commission. Stanhope,
man, whoever the fuck it wasn't Stanhope, it wasn't Brighton.
But nonetheless,
but they took it to a settlement. I like so many people that were like affected by that over a long period of time that affected their lives and their capability to earn money. Was so happy that this is going to court because that means this isn't a court. That means that any politician that had a hand in it can be called as a witness, and they have to answer. They have to answer for what happened.
Yeah, there's no hiding behind parliamentary privilege on that.
Before that happened, settle. And you know what people got from the settlement? They got like $260.
Oh, rest assured, they're still going to call people before the Royal Commission. They still will be called.
Man, like,
and you know that's an oath.
I hope so, man.
I think they should be accountable for that.
When they didn't say sorry, man, and even if they did say sorry, if I'm being honest, like
no, they didn't say sorry. They said sorry for the effect that it had.
That it may have had.
Yeah.
That it may have had.
Yeah, I don't know if that's an apology by definition.
They tried to play off that these people that killed themselves in public places, the guy that set himself on fucking fire, in a Centrelink. Oh, maybe he had mental issues.
Oh, and how much news is on that when someone self-emulates in a bloody Centrelink? Well, like, that's not out there.
It's fucking... It's crazy.
Horrendous.
That they can just go, oh, maybe... You know, we apologise if maybe that might have had effect on someone doing that. But no total ownership.
None.
It's so disgusting. It's so disgusting.
Well, they're going to have to answer through the Royal Commission. I know Shorten is he is a dog with a bone. He ain't letting go.
Yeah,
and he's like you say, he is the right man for the job.
I like Shorten more than Albo. I think I've said that here when we've been talking before.
I think that's where me and you we do. I like Albo. I'm an Albo fan. Always have been.
I don't mind Albo, but Shorten has absolute integrity. He when he went to the election, he went to the election on this foundation of all these policies that were hard for people to accept.
Yeah,
but they were the right policies.
Oh, they were, but I think
closing that loophole that Paul Keating, by the way, said, when we came up with we need to close that loophole on fucking fringe benefits, was it?
No, franking credits.
Franking credits.
Yeah.
Fringe benefits, Jesus.
Yeah, it was close. It was close, man. Not a lot of people understand what the fucking franking credit is. It basically means you're collecting tax off revenue that you're getting from stock ownership.
It was supposed to be so you're not paying tax in two places for one
double
fucking
taxation.
thing. That's all
at
it was.
The 30% threshold, yeah.
But it's now, as everyone knows, it's abused to get a tax return when you don't pay tax.
Oh no!
What?
They're cheating on their tax returns with a franking credit, and we're
Even
trying to
Paul
close.
Keating was like, "Man, we put this into Parliament.
Oh look,
and this is ridiculous." And so Bill,
when Johnny Howard did it, I voted for him. I voted for him at that period, right?
A lot of people voted for him because of that, man. Like.
They did, man. It was the workers' rights that changed it all. But just think about this, Scott. If you didn't pay any of that debt and you let it slide,
I would have had to pay nothing.
Yeah, but no. But if just say it continued on, what would they do? They would sell your debt.
Yeah.
To a debt collector.
Yeah.
Sounds pretty militant.
They did that to people. They did that to people. And
I'm going to take your car. You got to pay for this somehow.
Yeah, some people, like most of the people that got like a larger settlement, because not everyone got like that $200 and whatever settlement. Some people got a larger settlement, and the people that did get the largest settlement, I think a lot of them were the people that had external debt collection
third party collection, man,
calling them up because I don't know if you've ever had one of them call you, but
I know some of them. Yeah,
yeah.
I've met them before. They're quite interesting characters. Usually, private investigators.
Like the content of that conversation on a phone can be classified as harassment.
Oh,
absolutely.
Totally. You've got
an intimidation.
They call it a third party collection agency.
They bought it for cents on the dollar.
It is a debt collector.
Yeah.
They're not. They have it. A certain personality type is attuned to that kind of role.
Yeah. Well,
they're not usually small dudes.
For the tax office, man. Like I did debt collection for the tax office, and I didn't do well because at the tax office, you have discretion for a certain level of debt. You have discretion to say, we're going to wipe your interest, and we'll just enter you in a payment plan. Yeah. I have like this upper and lower limit of what I can afford to get you into a payment plan with. Yeah. And each person I would talk to, whether they ask it or not, I'm like, I'm going to wipe your debt. Like, I'm going to wipe your interest, and you can pay the least amount of money absolutely possible that I can get you on. Every single person, because you're not making money at the tax office and getting people to pay money back. You're not getting.
We're not getting commission.
You're not getting a commission. But I would sit next to motherfuckers that would just be like, no, and they're so angry at people. Like, you pay that back. You fucking piece of shit. I'm like, why are you doing this? Like, why the fuck are you doing this? Make something that's sustainable for people. Don't harass them. Be nice to them. Reach out to them. And 100% of the time, as long as they haven't stolen super and they're not a business owner, if they're like an individual that owes tax money, they'll be like, okay, yeah, thanks. And they will do that.
Yeah, well, it's not the personality trait they're looking for.
Yeah, I didn't last in that job for very long. Even though it wasn't a commission-based job, I did not last in debt for very long. I still worked at the tax office, but not in debt for very long.
Yeah, well, people like to hold things over people. And there's a power rush in that.
Weird. You would see the change in their eyes, man.
Yeah, they get hungry for it, right? Yeah. And we see this across multiple spectrums. It's power,
it's that
acquiring
Stanford
power
bullshit, man. That Stanford prison experiment shit. It's crazy. Neurologically, we're fucked. And that's like, I would see it day to day in this like debt collection at the tax office. Crazy. People with no incentive to hassle people and give them a hard time would just hassle them and give them a hard time because they were in a position of power.
Yeah.
Nuts. Absolutely nuts.
Well, I'll tell you something that I'm really stoked with the current situation, and that's our treasurer, man. Jim
I thought you were going to say my face.
Your face. Nah, Jim Chalmers, man. Love Jim Chalmers, man.
Yeah, I remember last time you're like, oh, we're getting Jimmy. Like,
Yeah,
you were cheering.
Yeah, man, he's a junkyard dog,
Yeah.
man. I love watching him in Question Time, man. He doesn't hold back. Always adds an emotional context, reflects on the past, explains the present, and desires the future. It's a great pattern of speech making.
Yeah.
And that's what you've got to do. Reflect on what we had, talk about what we've got, talk about where we're going.
Yeah.
And along the way, I might do some, debates with Tories, So he's very good at that, very good orator. And, man, he's great to watch. And I think he will be PM one day.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Early prediction from the old Roscoe, mate. I'm telling you, Jim Chalmers will be PM one day. Absolutely.
I defer to you.
No, I reckon he will. I really do. But the talent that they've got in the Labor Party versus the Liberal Party is amazing, man. Like, it's actually, like I said earlier, it's a worry. You want the opposition to have talent, like whether it's Labor or Liberal. You want contrast. And at the moment, they would have 17, 18 questions in Question Time, other than the Dorothy Dixon's, right? So, Dorothy Dixon's are the questions from your own side, where you go, how are we winning today? Easy questions to answer. But they will just attack the same thing over and over that really is fruitless and repetitious. They're just going for gotchas. They're looking for those soundbite gotchas. And you're like,
and they bank on people not remembering anything before 2 seconds ago, because, like, man, the Liberals this term, as like a party that's not in government, have you heard them going on about, like, but what about women? To Labor, you're like, oh man, look, I'm not gonna say Labor are like, you know what? The forefront of our minds is women. We need to make sure that women are okay. I'm not saying that. I'm not that stupid.
Yeah, of course. There's contrast there for sure.
But man, like,
they all have their
but
shadows.
The history of Liberals over just the last 2 terms,
A little bit darker of a shadow.
Man,
a little bit darker.
And all of a sudden, now, like, Dutton of all people's like, well, you fucking got to worry about women, don't you, you bastards?
You misogynistic pricks. Yeah, no, definitely.
They know that Liberals know, because they're all about analytics and shit. They know that they lost, like, what was it, like the 20 to 40 or the 15 to 35?
Yeah, and it was all in the environmental vote
for
spectrum.
Women. There were fewer voters for Liberal that were women than they were for Labor, and especially with all that Brittany Higgins stuff came out,
which is just abhorrent as well.
And like you would think that maybe they would make that, like, a linchpin or like some pivot point, and they haven't. All they're doing is just going, but what has Labor done? And you're like,
oh gosh, where do we start? Where do you start with that?
I will never sit there and go on about how great Labor is. But I will happily sit there and say, fuck Liberals for saying Labor needs to do more when they did less than nothing. Yeah, well, it's just crazy. But it's that's like that's the thing about politics, the theater of politics, man. Like it was just like 1 term ago, and they can successfully go, but what's Labor doing for women now? They can successfully do that, even though they did the worst the last term at least.
Yeah, the funneling of narratives is quite interesting.
Over and done with. Like, people have, like, short attention spans.
I don't think they do at the moment. Like, if you look at central New South Wales at the moment, and and those people are reflecting on the fires that we had 3 years ago. Like, I think it is in memory, and the denialism of it all. Yeah. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I think there are people that are proponents for climate change that are over the top. Like, we need to look at the science, right? We need to look at what
Oh, man,
what are we going to do
plenty
properly?
of cats that are stupid about a bunch of good shit. Like, there's crazy people in every single sect of humanity.
Yeah, and I think that they're power brokers as well, and they're levering that perhaps in an inappropriate way. Like, we should be actually concerned rather than trying to score politically. We need to actually take action.
Absolutely.
Whether it's man-made or not.
It's at least exacerbated by humans.
Yeah, at least it is.
And like, I remember,
but is it the doom and gloom that we're sold? You know what I mean? Like, I don't think it is the doom and gloom that we're sold.
I think it might be, because like I read something the other day and it said that Australia's heat record is 10 years like ahead of the projection. 10 years ahead.
Well, it was the Ghana report that predicted this. Yeah.
I'm not a scientist. It's cool if it's wrong. But if a couple more countries start having the same reports saying we're hotter these consecutive years than we thought we'd be.
Patterns?
Yeah.
Every year's a 100-year flood. Have you noticed that?
Yeah.
Every year's a 100-year flood.
Although, like, to be fair, and I don't want to help Gladys out because she was in when she did this. Fuck you, Gladys. But, to be fair, when you're saying a 1 in 100 year flood, it's not 1 in every 100 years. It's like, you know, when someone goes, oh, you got a 1 in 100 chance. It's not every 100 you'll get one. Every time you roll the dice, it's a 1 in 100.
Yeah, that's right.
And that's the same as the flood risks.
Oh, dude, I was watching the footage of...
She's still a fuckwit, but...
Well, yeah, well, you know, I actually have a bit of a, political affection for her.
Yep, I know. And,
I don't mind. I didn't mind Gladys.
Fuck you.
Yeah. Oh, dude, but you know, look, she's certainly better than Perrottet. Absolutely.
I don't know, man. Like,
she did have statesman's qualities. Absolutely.
It's like trying to grade shit, but at least Dominic Perrottet hasn't been caught red-handed being corrupt, also lying about being corrupt, and then listening to their own phone conversations being corrupt and going, I don't recall that.
Yeah, that's true. Well, he's a very clean whistle. That's why he's there.
He's also, like, creepy. Like,
yeah,
I don't want to go down the religious path and go, oh, he's creepy because he's religious. That's not true. It's because he's like overly religious, and he's talked about, I just want to keep shitting out kids. Like,
yeah,
he's all about
6 or 8 kids. I can't remember.
Yeah, but he's like, oh, we just keep going. Like, yeah, right. But you know what? Like, every week in New South Wales when Gladys was in, I remember every week, and it wasn't just because of the media, because the media do favour Liberals. Even the Liberal favouring media. You would hear
That's
something
not my
about,
experience, Scott. Like, I go out there and they're like, there's cheerleaders for Albo and Jim Chalmers out there, and you know, they're going off. They're going off, mate.
Man, you would hear at least once a week, something that Gladys fucked up for the entire state. At least. You're not hearing that much about Perrottet. I think it's because he's really boring.
Yeah, I think he's a little bit boring.
He doesn't have a personality, and that's
He was
fine,
a good treasurer, though. He was a good treasurer.
I don't think...
we got the West Connects.
I don't think he has an agenda. I think that he's just like, you know, he's just a talking head. I think that's why he's not doing too bad, because he's not like really towing the Liberal line. He's just sitting there. It's like he's treading water, even though like New South Wales is like a safe Liberal seat.
It is, yeah. It really
I don't know
is.
if he's a cool guy for being a Liberal.
Well, Sydney is known for its unapologetic capitalists.
Yeah,
you know, and myself included, for sure. You know, and as I say, I've voted both ways, state and federal. Depends on the point in history that I am.
Oh man, you're a lunatic if you play politics like it's football. You go, you know what? I just like Labor. I just like them because of this thing that happened when I decided I liked Labor.
Yeah, I'm not rusted on.
Like,
I'm definitely not rusted on, that's for sure.
Yeah, like the same with Liberals or any other political party. It's stupid. You're a moron if you go, no, I just like that political party,
I'm a big fan of corruption.
I find the Greens supporters to be so very much.
Oh, they're very
like
rusted
that
on.
because it's kind of
very tribal. It's very tribal in that sense, yeah.
Whereas, like, I see, you know, Labor and Liberals like voters fluctuating and shit, which is weird. It's weird to see a Labour voter like switch over to Liberals. But it's good and that's healthy. That means that people are even if they're making the wrong objective decision, at least they're thinking for themselves.
Yeah.
They're not going, hey, I'm just gonna like follow this like it's a sports team. Doesn't matter how bad they go. I'll make excuses for what they do and shit. Like I've said to friends, like, man, if Labour fuck up, I will absolutely slam the fuck out.
Oh, dude, like, look at the Keneally government. 16 years of the best corruption that the country's ever seen, which is saying something. Like, as far as corrupt governments go, except for banana republics, perhaps, Australia has done it well. If you've ever been to the Gold Coast, you would understand that corruption has benefits.
We've streamlined corruption, man. Like it's publicly acceptable.
Oh, dude, the founding stones for parliaments in Victoria, like Melbourne and Sydney, were built off the rum trade, man. Because the English ran out of money because the Irish had it from the rum trade, which was prohibited at that point in history. So they used the benefits of what they prohibited in order to build the government. Like, think about that.
That's pretty legit.
That sounds legit. It's corrupt as fuck, but it sounds legit. Everyone was in on it. They use these terms like trickle down economics, right? Which means
I don't even fucking started about trickle down.
That means that the corruption starts at the top.
Man,
it stays at the top.
Economics has been shown time and time and time and time and time again to be absolute bullshit. Do you see businesses and landlords now charging more for their services or products because of inflation or because of COVID? They're having a hard time, and like they're not lying, but because they have increased costs, they're charging more for their product or their service. Did they charge less when the times were good?
No, they kept the standard.
Did they say, hey, times are good, let's charge you less for things? That did not fucking happen. So trickle-down economics is absolute bullshit because trickle-down economics exists in the hands of the people that are at the top, the upper echelons of capital.
Yeah, but it sounds like the irony is it's a socialist idea.
It is.
That is peddled by right-wingers.
Like, man, I'm not in religion, but don't like Catholics say like the devil pretends to not fucking be there or some dumb shit?
No, I watched Usual Suspects today actually, and it has the saying in that film by Kevin Spacey, which is
Benicio del Toro in that.
Oh man. And just flip him for real.
Get the fucking minute.
What are you saying? I flip him.
Yeah.
I want my lawyer.
Yeah.
No, the best trick that the devil ever pulled was convincing the world he did not exist.
Yeah.
And that's what that is, yeah.
Yeah, it's the exact same thing. And like, have you noticed also that when company profits were up, when company profits were up, and when overheads were down, workers didn't get paid more. And in the last two terms, there's probably more, but I can recall 2 times at least where it was a huge national conversation where lower taxes for big businesses were going to positively affect workers. And not once did it. And if you look at the numbers, the fucking companies just pocketed the goddamn money, which of course they did. They're a conglomerate. They're
an unapologetic capitalist. Why wouldn't you take the money?
They are a business entity. They're not a person. They're a business entity.
I'm going to flick that to my shareholder. They're going to love it.
Exactly. They're going
to buy more of it.
What happens when my shareholders get more money? My company's worth more. My shares are worth more. It's fucking mental.
I'm going to buy more of it because then I get a franking credit on that motherfucker.
It's just... It's insane that trickle-down economics, time and time again, if we're just counting when the government says we're doing this and it works, if we're just counting those times, each time it didn't work.
I can give you the perfect example in one word. Petrol.
Yeah.
That tells you the story.
You know, it's all about status quo. If you raise, like, any product, any service, if you raise the price and say... fucking 3 out of 10 people pay that, then you go, I don't have to lower it.
Mm.
And you don't. Doesn't matter if your costs go down. Doesn't matter if your
it is now the standard. It is now the standard.
Yeah, that's it, and that's petrol, man. Like petrol isn't. Watch when like everyone's saying, oh, you know, it's the Ukraine fucking Russian thing. When that goes down, watch petrol not go down. It just won't. It just fucking won't.
I've got an anecdotal indicator, if you like, for inflation movement and the increase of cost. McDonald's, man. If McDonald's put up their prices on anything, you know that the rest of society will follow within months.
So we figured out
that I've watched it happen a few times in my life.
We fucked up as soon as they started putting half a piece of cheese on the Filet-O-Fish. That was the death knell for the economy.
Oh, man. The Filet-O-Fish, man, is the best burger to order from McDonald's.
It's the best dessert burger. Like, you'll have your burger, sweet, and they're like, I'll get a cheeky Filet-O-Fish in case. And it's not in case. You'll eat it every single fucking time.
It's always made fresh. Always made fresh. So if you want a fresh burger, get a Filet-O-Fish.
As fresh as a fish burger can be made in Paris.
Out of a freezer,
that is that far from the ocean.
Yeah. Oh man, I have the. I've been fortunate to go on a few holidays lately and wine and dine at some nice places.
Yeah, you're a piece of shit.
Yeah. I've been a bit. I've had some fortune in my life recently, and it's been great to do the awesome downshift of the piston. But I'm a big fan of Gordon Ramsay. Like, massive fan of Gordon Ramsay.
Don't get me started. Man, my girlfriend hates
Gordon Ramsay.
She didn't start off hating him. It's because as soon as, you know when you got downtime, but you don't want to watch the TV, but you want to watch the TV? Yeah. Kitchen Nightmares every single time.
Kitchen Nightmares is the best.
I've watched every single series
I'll watch it again
8 times.
Love it.
And I'll continue.
Oh, dude, my favourite saying that he has is, what a shame.
Yeah.
What a shame.
Fuck yeah.
Because I'll go down and I'll say to Misty, I'll go, let's order the calamari. She's like, why? I go, I want to know if it's frozen or not.
You're like role-playing Gordon Ramsay.
So I'll like cut it up and I'll eat it and I go, frozen. What a shame. What a shame. Love it. I love Gordon Ramsay, man.
That's so good.
Oh, dude, I've done his he has a on YouTube. He has a the beef Wellington, and I made the beef Wellington because I'm not much of a cook.
Can you substitute like the mushrooms for something that isn't a fungus?
Dude, I came up with this crazy idea, and I call it the magic well because it's a beef Wellington, right?
Yeah.
So I'll make a magic well. So. Well, you know, the potential idea that I have is what you do, because when you make a beef Wellington, you get like 2 good pieces of beef, right? And you set them together, and you roll it in prosciutto, and you get mushrooms, and you blend them up, right?
Yeah.
My idea was obviously putting some magic mushrooms in there, but then you get weed butter to butter the whole thing, and my idea is call it the magic well. Instead
of rock salt, DMT crystals.
That would be incredible. No, that wouldn't work in the stomach, though. You'd need to take the ayahuasca inhibitor.
There you go.
Yeah. To have the DMT effect, you'd have to smoke it. But unless you put something in the Wellington that allows the DMT not to be broken down in your stomach.
I was going to say, I'll put something...
Wow, we just had a real Rogan moment there. Fuck, now we're talking about DMT. Shit, man.
Yeah, let's not do that.
Let's not do that. I love the man. He's great. He's fantastic. But, yeah.
Of all the people I've ever heard, he's definitely one of them.
Yeah, yeah, he's out there a little bit. Number 1 podcaster. I know where my rating is as a podcaster. I'm in the top 1 million.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there's 3 million podcasters out there. And I think I'm rated in the...
You're in the top third?
Yeah, so I'm in the top 700,000, I think.
Yeah.
Which is like, that's a shit number, but it's actually pretty good. When I first started, there was only 1 million podcasters.
Yeah.
And now there's 3 million podcasters.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's crazy, man. I've only been doing it for like 4 years. So now, it's tripled. But I say the key to podcasting, right, is do 100 episodes.
Yeah.
Unless it's a narrative one where you're doing like radio show sort of stuff with Foley and you're telling a story. You're doing like a narrative arc, middle.
Yeah.
A start, middle, and end.
I've heard some great ones like that, man.
Yeah, it's really interesting. It's strange how the worm turns, man. Like before TV and before film, they had radio, right?
It's gone back. It's
gone back to that.
Yeah, like I've listened to some really good horror podcasts, like great, but they're like long form, like
feature form.
Yeah,
the feature link. It's like a feature film,
like
but without the film.
Starting off with like 50 episodes of shit and just trickling that stuff. It's been so great. Like it's because like the most that you hear about podcasts is like this, like people just talking shit. You're like, I've fucking heard that before. I don't listen to any of this type of stuff.
Sorry, Scott.
But like,
could you move a little bit more to the left?
Yes.
No, he's moved. He's moved again.
But it's
he's
like,
mobile.
But as
he's middle class mobile. He's all over the place. Oh no!
I thought it was helping. but like as a vehicle for like different narratives, like horror or documentaries and stuff, podcasts have been fucking excellent. It's weird. They've kind of extended past TV, but then going back to a time of listen to the wireless.
Yeah, well, sorry folks, we're just lighting up some cigars now because this is the last episode of the year, and I definitely wanted to get Scotty on. Definitely, look, I've had 2 mad producers this year. Big shout out to Wade, young Wade. I even had Holly K. Smith on this year. Big shout out. But thank you very much, Jan. Actually, now I've got this opportunity that we're smoking these cigars. Thank you for doing the show this year. You've been a massive help. So thank you, man.
Fuck is Jan here?
Anyway.
Jesus.
Jesus.
He's everywhere, isn't he?
Oh man, he's soaking it up, man. He's fucking killing it. So he's doing a good job. He's doing all right. He lets like crazy people like you and me have this chat and like talk fucking politics and talk crazy shit. Man, no, it's been mad. Like, I think I've had you on earlier this year. Was it earlier? It was one of the
before the election.
It was before the election. That's right. Yeah. So I've done like 35 episodes this year.
Holy shit.
Yeah. 33. So I think this is the 33rd episode this year, man. Which is really hard to do. It's really hard to get it done, but it's fun, man. It's so much fucking fun.
I know, now and then I'll listen to episodes. It's really good. Like, the last one I listened to was, like a month ago? I think I messaged you. I'm like, that was really cool.
I remember that conversation, but I can't remember who the guest was.
I can't remember who the fuck it was, but they were talking, like, they're a filmmaker and shit, and they were talking about stuff.
Oh, I think that was Michael Budd, actually. He was in The Matrix. I was like, name dropping today. I was doing a radio interview for the festival today. And I was talking about the judges, and I got Michael Budd on for the as a judge, and he was like Lawrence Fishburne's body double, and so every time you see Lawrence Fishburne's ass, it's his ass.
That's so cool.
You're like, hey,
that's
Michael,
so cool.
Big shout out, bro. We love you. But check out his shit. He's like
the world's best Tinder.
Oh man, he got
just like Morpheus's ass. Like,
man, they gave him a front shot cameo. He's the when you watch The Matrix Reloaded, he's the Zion gate controller.
Oh, cool.
So when they open the gate, he goes, ready to open the gate. He gets a line. Ooh. They give him a line on it, man. And he's check him out online, man. If you guys are listening, I think it's the Zion Gatekeeper. Check out his shit, man. He does a lot of interesting work, man. He makes some really cool fucking movies, man. Yeah, he's an interesting dude. Really, really cool dude. I think it was that guy that I had on, man. But I could talk to that guy for hours. Same as you, man. Like, that's why I got you on as the last episode, man. Because, resident guest of the Pagey train, man. And it's always fun to talk to you, man. Because we talk politics and then we just talk crazy shit, which is great. Yeah, for sure, man. But what else has happened this year, man? What else has happened, man? We had the terrible floods,
Fuck, what hasn't happened this year?
The hangover of COVID, really. It's the hangover.
Yeah.
The industrial relationship is changing.
That next wave's hitting as well.
I'm so worried about that, man. I'm so worried about it because
I've been face to face so many times in the work that I do doing disability support with people that have COVID, like constantly, and I haven't caught it once. Like, I've kept up on my vaccinations and shit.
You haven't got it once.
I haven't caught it once.
You've dodged all the bullets.
Like, when I went to Frenzell Rom and like me, my little brother Michael, Rihanna, and Josh are there at the front row. They all caught COVID apart from me. Like, every time,
you're one of those guys.
Yeah.
You're one of the ones.
But then, like, now, like, we're hearing about people catching it like a second time and shit.
I've heard people getting it 3 times, man.
Yeah, but like people that are fully vaccinated now just catching it, like, it's here to stay.
Oh man, I had what they call long COVID for about 6 weeks, man. Like it
for real?
Yeah, man, it fucking kicked me. It fucking kicked me hard, man. The fevers were like fully psychedelic. Like I had a full psychedelic experience, man. You know, spatial inawareness. You know, like fuck, where am I again? Oh shit, I'm on the couch sweating. I had those kind of moments, man. It was really intense. And I still worked from home during the whole thing, man. Yeah, I don't know. I think that's just what same with the podcast, same with, doing bands, and same with doing, like, movies and shit, man. Like, I just have to work. And the irony is, when I'm working, I'm like, why I have to work all the time?
Yeah.
It's this weird paradox, bro. I always have to be working, but at some point, we'll bitch about it. At some point, I'll bitch about it.
Man, you have to.
Yeah.
You absolutely have to. Like, I'm the biggest fucking whinger. And I'll whinge to the point where, like, people will go, are you okay? I'm like, I'm absolutely okay. I'm fine with this.
Part of the process. Part of the process.
I just want to whinge. Like, I just want to fucking whinge. It's like taking a shit. Like, you just have to whinge.
Yeah. That's a good way to think about it. It is a bodily function.
Yeah.
That's a good, yeah. Like,
it's just waste.
Yeah.
And it stinks.
Yeah, and you've got to get it out.
You're not enjoying it.
Yeah, you need to
But then once you do it, you're all G. You're like, oh, thank God I had a whinge.
Just don't forget to flush it. Get rid of it.
Yeah.
Well, one thing I do with my mates, and I say...
you said doo-doo.
Doo-doo? One thing I do
about shit, you just said doo-doo.
I do. Is you're entitled to the 2-minute dummy spit. Like, if shit goes wrong, you kick a bucket or something like that, and you're like, you're entitled to swear for 2 minutes. You're entitled to go, the fucking universe is fucking me again. But at the end of that, realise that nothing is fair. The universe isn't just fucking you; it's also rubbing you and caressing your hair. Like, there's both of those things happening at the same time. The universe is a place that it is the kind of environment that, while it's helping you up, will stab you in the chest.
That indicates it's doing things on purpose, which it's not.
Yeah, interesting. On purpose or not?
She's just fucked.
Free will. This is getting deep. We're getting existential.
Have you heard about this horrible person? They've had such good luck. You're like, yeah, of course they did, because they had good luck. Like, it's fine.
Yeah.
And like, why did that horrible person like succeed so much? Like, because they just cared about themselves. That's why. Like,
yeah, a little bit of narcissism can be helpful, but in the long term, it's not. You've got to find a humble space to go. Well, we all have the human condition. He's doing my crazy stuff.
I don't know. Yarn's like,
bring it towards you. Or move in. Just move in. Roll in.
Is that better?
Is that better? Yes. Is it, we all good?
Oh, there you go. I think it's I'm leaning for the ashtray. I'm like,
oh, yeah. I'll move it closer. There we go. They're not bad cigars, actually. I wanted to get us some thick stogies, but I couldn't find anywhere.
I'm not totally into them, but I know that like we can't smoke in your basement, so I'm just smoking this like a cigarette. Like,
oh yeah, it's spinning out in the shit.
Yeah.
I mean, I've reduced my because I smoke cigarettes, right? And I've reduced it so much that when I have the first one, when I have it, I only drink when I smoke.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, I only smoke when I drink.
I got ya, and like
yeah,
that. I feel terrible now that I'm just like, yeah.
I gotcha.
It's an indictment on me as well.
We're all in this cesspit together. Yeah, but the first one now, like, it rocks me, man. And I think I'm at the end. I really think I'm at the end. I don't mind the cigar, though, because you kind of swirl it around, waft it around a bit. You might get a little bit in, and that's it. It's not that anxiety draw of cigarettes or... Well, I had a friend that was saying, you're having an analog or a digital. I was like, oh, you mean darts? Okay.
Yeah.
No, I'm an analog guy. I don't do the digital smokes. Because I'm such a hypocrite. I'll say, well, the jury's still out, man. We don't know how bad these digital cigarettes are. They could really fuck you up. It's terrible.
Yeah.
Like we know it's all bad, right? I don't know. I think I'm at the end of it. I really do.
Oh, man, I would love to not smoke. That'd be fucking awesome. I don't like feeling compelled to do things.
Yeah, the master.
Like it's horrible.
Yeah.
It's horrible. Like, oh no, I must do this. I fucking hate it. But the same, like, so I haven't had a cigarette for like a week. I have been smoking a vape.
Yeah.
But I'm like, oh, I've made progress. And then as soon as I had a bad day at work today, need a packet of cigarettes.
Yeah, need that proper nicotine.
You need to be, like, when I was in the UK, you could buy like a pack of 10 cigarettes. They need that over here, but like packs of 2 cigarettes.
Oh yeah, we used to call them Lucy's, man.
If I could
when I
buy
was a
a
kid, you
pack
could
of
buy
2
Lucy's from the
cigarettes,
tobacconist.
I'd be cheering because like
50 cents, mate.
The times I really want a cigarette, I'm like, I just want one. And then after that one, I'm like, oh, I'm fine now. I don't need another cigarette. But I've bought a
I don't
pack.
even get through the whole thing anymore.
I do. Man, I chain smoke it. I've got a pack. I'm like, well, now it's here.
Oh, when I go to the cow, though, I'll do a whole packet.
Yeah.
Yeah. The cow demands a packet. You will smoke this and you will feel like shit tomorrow. You think you got a hangover? Let's fuck this shit up.
The older I get, I've got like that you know, when you were a kid, you just like, when I can drink like straight cordial, it's fine. Whatever. And then you're just like, it's just this coating. Like now when I smoke a pack of cigarettes, that's what I get for like 3 days.
All right, man, I've got to take a piss. I'm dying for a piss.
Sweet.
All right, can we kill the record there?
Can I also piss?
Yeah, man. I'm gonna race you.
Can we all piss together?
I was watching a video the other day of like different armed forces. It was fucking hilarious because they had like obviously the cunt that made it was from the army because the army was like the most normal guy. It was like how different armed forces eat. Army guy ate totally normal and shit. When it came to the Marines, they just ate crayons. Like,
Makes a lot
that's
of sense.
awesome.
Oh, dude, do you know they are you rolling there, mate? Yeah.
Always rolling.
On explosives, on plastic explosives, in particular, C4.
Yeah.
On the packaging, it says
Spicy Play-Doh.
it says "Do not eat." No. Shit, you not. Fact. Do not eat. This is where it gets fucking. I'm telling you, man, this is where it gets trippy.
It doesn't even say please.
No, it says "Do not eat."
It's directive.
Yeah, do not eat, man. And the reason is if you eat C4, it has hallucinogenic properties.
Get fucked.
You get high
Get
eating it.
fucked.
Yeah, man. Shit, you
No.
not. Yep, look it
Are
up,
you
man. Look it up, man.
serious?
Look up C4 hallucinogenic properties, man. Shit, you not.
That's going to be the next TikTok phase.
Eating
Cunts
explosives.
yeah.
Yeah, man.
Oh, well, we can't go C4. Let's just eat dynamite.
Yeah.
Shit.
Here we go.
That can't
There it
be
is.
real.
The pharmacology of visual hallucinogens of fucking explosives.
No.
Shit, you not. You trip balls, bro. Yeah. Visual hallucinations.
What's in it that makes you trip, though? That's
I'm
interesting.
not entirely sure. I know from memory, I don't know the full chemical composition, but it's basically bleach mixed with wax and acid. Not LSD, but sulfuric acid. Yeah.
I thought it would be more, I don't know, a bit more impressive than that.
No. Well, the strange thing, the way that they work is like the plastique is really stable, right? So you can shoot a shotgun at it and it won't go off. What it needs is what they call a means of initiation. So it needs a little explosion. It's kind of like how a bullet works, right? You need a little explosion that sets off the bigger explosion.
Air's fine until you ignite it.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, and an explosion, all it is a solid compound that immediately turns to a gas in its entirety. And because of that rapid expansion, that's what an explosion is, and it creates a negative force in the middle, and you'll get the right. So it'll explode, and then it'll suck back in a little bit. Creates a negative force in the middle. Yeah. And you'll have the blast wave, then you have the debris wave, right? And that blast wave is actually what is the damager. That's the true damage.
Wacky in movies, people get like blasted by explosions, and they get up. I was reading something that said,
it frustrates me, man.
No, that
frustrates me.
That would like if it's enough to throw you, it liquefied your organs.
Yeah, you would have
like
pressure wounds.
Yeah,
like from changing pressure around your
That's
organs.
Crazy.
Yeah, man. Grenades in movies bother me.
I've seen a fucking video of grenades, and it's like.
Yeah, there's no fire at all.
Yeah.
None.
And it's not huge, it just goes...
Yeah. Oh, no, when you throw them, like, you feel them. Yeah. Like, they do shake the ground, and they do have a very audible sound, but no fire.
It's like RPGs. I've seen videos of RPGs, And you're like, yeah, I suppose it'd kill you, but it's
No
not
fire.
very cinematically.
If you hit a car,
Impressive.
maybe the petrol tank would explode after the fact, but not at the point of impact. Like, they don't work. It doesn't. That's not how it works. It's just not how it works. But like, you need the visuals for the film. I understand, but that does frustrate me watching.
Well, look, they
ordnance going
gave
off
the
in films.
Dilophosaurus a fan around its neck in Jurassic Park. We're not going to argue about explosions in movies.
Yeah.
It's fine. It's all artistic bullshit. It's fine.
Separate, the suspension of disbelief is where you've got to go. But ones I do like when you see good weapon drills in movies. I love good weapon drills in movies. Like one that does it very well is Heat.
I was going to say, Heat, like the FBI said, this is dead set how you
bang on.
move through an urban centre.
Yeah, it's called Fire and Movement,
Yeah.
Yeah, covering arc, yeah.
Who the fuck choreographed that?
Australian SAS soldier.
No shit.
No shit. Yeah, man. Australian SAS soldier coordinated.
I was
did the
waiting
fight
for you to say,
choreography.
I don't know, some guy that just accidentally got it right. Like,
No, they do. No, it was well researched. Because when you you got to understand, like when you're firing an M4, for instance, like you're gonna expel 30 rounds very quickly if you hold it down. Not that you wouldn't. That's not how you fire a weapon. You look for targets, or you're doing covering fire. It's one of the two.
so like bursts.
Burst, burst or singular fire is the most common.
I would not know. I do not play FPS games.
Modern Warfare and all that stuff do really well as well. Like they do predict the future of weapon advancement very well, especially when it comes to scopes. I found night vision to thermal imagery on rifles. There's a modified. It used to be a big. For thermal imagery, it was like a big device.
Yeah.
But that device has gotten smaller over time. That can be now personalised to.
Wait, so it's
weapons.
like a scope that's like you're the predator?
Yeah, you can see heat.
That's hectic.
Oh man, if you here's a bit of a tip. I know this is probably a bad tip to give on a podcast, but
This is how to kill someone.
well, no, like if you're being chased by the police in a helicopter, they have thermal imagery.
Just fart.
Glass.
Oh, glass.
So glass fucks with thermal.
Oh, for real?
So go hide on.
What's that about?
Because it reflects the heat off the surface. So if you hide under a glass coffee table, you can't be seen from the air.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. Glass is the key. Get under a
I
glass.
thought silica would be like a good
cold.
conductor.
It's
no
cold.
way.
Yeah, and glass without a heat source, it's cold. Like if you put your hand on the glass,
Yeah.
you'd see the hand. You don't touch the glass. Hide under glass, man.
Oh, so as long as you're not touching the glass.
Yeah, hide under glass. Glass roof. Greenhouses, perfect place to hide during a thermal.
Well,
someone's tracking you via thermal.
I'm going to keep doing that thing where I get 2 pieces of glass and 2 G-clamps and just put my penis in the middle.
Oh, dude, I've looked through thermal imagery and I've seen people's hands in their pockets. So it's like it has an X-ray effect with heat. Yeah,
it's a weird thing to see.
Oh man, I've seen some quite unusual things in my travels
Targets got
through.
their hand in their pockets.
Lazy, low morale. We
He's
can
not
get these
reaching
guys
for anything. He's just a loafer.
No. Well, that's how that shit works, man. You want to get under glass for thermal because
That's
it
crazy.
throws a deceptive
and
message
can't
to
use
the
like
equipment.
what is it? Fucking man, I'm not a scientist, but it's a gas that starts with H that can dissipate heat as well. It's not hydrogen.
It's not hydrogen. You got helium.
No.
It's not helium.
They're the only 2 H's I know.
They're the only ones I know.
It's not that one.
Well, I know the first 10. So the first
But
10 elements: hydrogen, helium, lithium, beryllium, boron, carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, fluorine, neon.
You sound like you're playing No Man's Sky.
Wow. Oh, actually, I did a school university project once, and I had to do a poetic thing. So I set up a camera with a keyboard, with a dude in front of a keyboard, and I went to Bunnings and I got their colour catalogue.
Yeah.
And I got him to read out the colour catalogue as the poetry. Cillian Rail. Charisma Crimson.
Yeah, you know how you fucked up? You should have done it from the IKEA book.
Oh, that would have been good. That would have been really good, yeah. But everyone ate it up. They're like, hey, man, that was really deep. I'm like, it's just a fucking Bunnings colour catalogue, bro.
It's a comment on capitalism.
Yeah. How now, brown bureaucrats?
Holy shit.
Yeah, man. No, yeah, uni was mad fun, man. Like, I recommend, like, if you're of the inclination to go to uni, man, you learn a lot.
I'm going next year, and I'm fucking terrified.
Oh, it's good, though. It's good for you. It really is. Like, it broadens your analytical abilities.
I'm 39.
Yeah, that's all right.
I'm going to uni. There's going to be all these sprightly young things with, like, neural pathways that are still fresh.
Nah, that's not what's going to happen. What's going to happen is people are going to be looking to you for answers because you're going to finish your
My
assignment
girlfriend
a day
does
early.
that, and it doesn't end well.
Yeah.
Don't look to me for answers.
Oh, but they're going to because like you're motivated. You're being in the workforce, right?
Yeah.
And I was
Yeah, I'm the only way I've said to myself that I'm doing this because I'm like, I'm 39. I don't know about going to uni. I'm 30 fucking 9.
Nah, it's fine.
And I'm looking after 2 kids and shit. But I've only sold it to myself by going, it's just an extension of your other studies. And, like, I'm just holding on to that.
But that's really true, though. It really is. Like,
And, like, my work, I'm like, it's like an extension of my work and my other studies.
it's just another facet in your life, man. Like,
Yeah.
it really is. Like, when I did it, I was 29 when I dropped the job and went to uni full time.
Yeah.
And then, started working part-time to make ends meet and, on study. Living in a small apartment, stepping sideways and back, a bit of a lateral step and a back step to step forward, and it does take traction. You just gotta the advice I'd give to someone is like that takes time. Just understand it takes time, and you'll get the third year blues. You'll question your own existence. Why am I doing this? This is so hard.
Well, I'm already ahead of the studies then.
Yeah, that's what I mean. You're already going to be motivated, man. Like people will be like to the due date for their assignments. You're like, I handed that in yesterday.
Yeah.
You'll find it easy in that aspect.
I'm starting in March, and I've already thought, can I get my hands on the reading material?
The reading is the hardest.
Like, can I start reading now?
Yeah, it's brutal. The readings at any degree are brutal, right? Because there's a lot of content you got to take in. But the advice I give there is like. It's like a hot bath, right? Like when you put your toe in, you're like, oh fuck, man, that's hot. But you'll get used to it, man. Don't be when you go in and you get that shock experience. Just understand that shock experience is temporary. It will pass. You will get a grasp and you will get the routine.
Well, any facet of academia has always been a hassle to me, and like learning has never been a hassle to me. But like the rigid corridor that is academia has always kind of hassled me.
It is a game. You got to play the game to get that piece of paper. And don't get me wrong, like you're going to run into lecturers that are fantastic, that are going to inspire you, and you'll experience some mentorship. But you're going to experience the opposite of that as well. You're going to find people that are substandard in their content delivery. Yeah. But both of those things aren't important. They're the residual effect of your journey. The real journey by doing education is the exploration of yourself by seeding to external content. People that have done what you've done before.
That's why I'm jazzed about 1,000 hours of placement. At first, I was like, oh shit, 1,000 hours of placement. I'm going to work for 1,000 hours and not get paid. But like, as soon as you finish with 1,000 hours of experience in the field, that's killer. Yeah,
you're going to be gun. You're going to be gun at that point, right? Yeah. And it should be that way. Sacrifices have to be made for those that are going to go for those positions.
Yeah.
And getting a degree as well, like even if it's not in the relevant field, you are open to a new spectrum of employment. That's just a fact.
Yeah.
You just are. Do you have to pay for that? Yeah, you're going to pay the hex on that. You're going to. They call it help now. You're going to pay the hex on that. I remember when I paid off my hex, it took about 7 years to pay it off. And you don't notice it. You don't notice that's true.
Apparently, indexation is fucking people right now.
Oh, dude, some degrees
people
are
with mortgages and shit.
Not possible. You can't get a loan. Don't forget a loan. You're not going to get a loan.
Yeah, people with like indexation because it's tied to inflation, isn't it?
Yeah, it's indexed.
There's no interest.
Oh, it's double indexed. It's indexed in the spectrum of cost.
Yeah.
And it's also indexed to your income.
Yeah.
So it goes up to 8.5%. So if you're earning 100K a year, they get 8.5
Yeah.
per year.
That's sweet.
But it's a good deal. It's a good deal.
I don't know. It's because I've not been in it yet. I hear these people going, "That's horrible." I'm like, it must be horrible. But
Not if
like
you're a worker.
I'm hearing it and going, man, I get to like jump up like tens of thousands in a pay grade, and I pay a little bit back.
Life changing.
Man, I'm gonna pay back more than the little bit if I can afford it. Just get it over and done with.
And when you clear it, now you're getting that 8.5 a year.
Yeah.
And that's life changing. That's a holiday for the kids, man. That's oh man, I'm going to put that aside for a loan for a house. You know, that's what that money is. But it's a 9-year journey, because if you do a 4-year degree, it's going to take you 5 years to recoup. At least. If you get into good employment immediately.
Well, I want to do a master's after, but I'm going to end up doing my master's part-time, because like
that's a good idea.
So while I'm working, I can do a master's part-time and then bump myself up another couple of $10,000.
The good one that you can do with that is there's two angles you can do a master's, because if you're employed, you can then, depending on your employer, you get them to pay for the master's.
Oh, that's hectic.
Yeah, especially in the medical fields, psychological and physical. And the other thing is that in certain spectrums as well, you can tax deduct that shit because you've done the master's incorporated with your full-time employment. It's a requirement for your earnings.
I work at the tax office. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, totally. But it's fair.
Study that is required, not required for your role.
Relevant.
But required to improve your role.
To improve your income is a expense.
Yeah,
that's an expense.
Yeah.
It's a hard shoe to fit on, but don't overquote me on this, but I'm pretty sure, especially medical and law fields, that is prevalent. Yeah, for sure.
I don't know how they'd go for social work. Who knows?
I think they would. They would, because especially that industry as well. Because like, if you look at the growing acknowledgement of mental health care, it's exponential at the moment. You could argue that is social media having a negative impact on our social health, mental health probably. Is the identification and education of reading through that scope more enhanced to identify those that weren't identified before? Probably. Either which way, that's a growing spectrum of... it's a growing field. And that field is short of people. And that if there's a critical need for those people, they're going to create avenues for you to become a leader in that field. And someone of your inclination, like everything that you've done, like I know you pretty well. We've known each other for a few years, man. Yeah. And I know your sort of outlook on, the assisting the human condition. Yeah. And if you're apt in that way, they're going to want that as leadership.
Well, that's why I'm studying, man, because
it's an easy shoe to put on.
Like sounds dumb because it's just a diploma, but like I did a Cert 3, a Cert 4, and then a diploma of community services, and this was off the back of just working whatever the fuck job. So I was just burnout, whatever. And so got in at Cert 3 and then went, I can do Cert 4. And then after that, I'm like, I get credit for diploma and shit. And then, like, after I got my diploma...
Yeah, recognised prior learning.
Yeah, after I got my diploma in of community services, every job I can technically do, that I'm technically qualified to do, I cannot get it because if someone else has a degree...
Degree will always get it.
Yeah, which is fair enough. Like, that makes fucking sense.
They don't just hand them out. You got to go and get it.
It's someone that's more well-versed in it, someone that's more experienced in it.
Yeah, they have the academia.
It makes absolute sense. But getting a diploma...
Not experience, but academia. It's very different.
Feels like it was a waste of fucking time. Because,
not true.
Because not learning-wise, but like job-wise, any job that I could technically get with this, like I could technically get an advocacy job, I could technically get a social work job. No, can't get it. And like,
the only way to win that one is direct appointment.
Like I said, I get it, and like I get why it is, and that makes total sense. Who do you want? Someone that's done like a degree or someone that's done a diploma? If there's two people in the room going for the job, who are you going to pick? Obviously, the person that's
more qualified, but you also pick the longevity as well, because if you've got someone fresh out of uni and they're 23 years old, I'm going to get 7 years out of them if I hire them. Yeah. You're going to get the longevity. If you're talented, sometimes it's hard to get hired if you're talented, because they go, if an opportunity comes up in the next 2 years, you're going to bail on me and I've got to go through this whole process again. So experience can be actually detrimental in a lot of ways. I'm thankful for the experience, but like,
I'm jaded.
Yeah, you are a little bit jaded, but
I spent these years in abject poverty. Because the jobs that I work, they get like these are like jobs where people have no qualification or a Cert 3. That's it.
Yeah.
And so I'm giving the benefit of my study and my knowledge to this job.
Experience is probably the biggest part of that.
For getting the same pay as these people who don't know fucking shit. Like, and that
academia doesn't equal experience.
It shits me off.
Yeah.
Like the amount of times I've been in a job, I'm like, did you know that like that's illegal or that's not okay to do or this is why? But I don't fucking know.
Yeah, but that's practicality.
I just
right?
got given the job. I'm like, that's holy shit. It's driving me insane. So like, I would have coasted on like just some shitty diploma, but I can't.
Yeah, but here's the thing: like you're equipping your engine with speeds and torque that others don't, and that's what you got to remember as your end game. And I certainly would say this: once you do get a degree, it feels really good. It really does, like as part of a confidence thing, because like it's not an easy thing to do, man. It really isn't. Like it doesn't. I don't care whether it's a BA in the French philosophy. Or fucking...
I do not think that would be easy.
But you will have better steed at getting a management role and higher income if you have a degree.
Well, see,
unless you're a direct appointment.
I don't want to do management. Like I could do management now, and I've been offered management positions in prior employees. I'm like, no, I don't want to. Like, I don't want to sit there and just do fuck all. Like, not that they do fuck all, but you know what I mean. Like,
management is hard.
Like, I like the guts of the job. That's why I started. doing
the coalface stuff.
I like. Yeah,
but you can't be the coalface forever.
So I'm like,
I would argue against it, Scott. I really would, like, because I know you, man. Like, you're a smart dude. Like, you're someone that can invoke change. And that requires
that's
power.
why I'm going to study, because I'm going to go. I'm going to go do advocacy, because after working so long in disability support, like coming up six years now. I'm sure there's people that will work longer, but like 6 years in disability support, like you see that there's no real problem with the NDIS. Like there's little problems that we can tweak and make better, but the real problem
the dials,
is the service providers. Like,
that's what I'm talking about.
Man, like the corners that are cut, like, you know, say someone that's got like a 1-to-3 ratio.
Yeah.
They'll put that person with staff in a 1-to-4 ratio. That means that funding for a 1-to-3 ratio is going to this company when...
that's 2, man. Shit, man. Fuck.
Is going to this company when they've only done it, you know, it's... say someone needs 2 people, they staff that with 1 person. That means that the company is pocketing that person that doesn't exist from funding from the NDIS.
Yeah.
It's crazy. And every single service provider that I've ever heard of or worked for does the exact same thing to varying degrees, but there are corners cut constantly, and you can't change anything from the inside, man. And seeing people like OTs, like when you work in the system of the NDIS, you see people like OTs, physiotherapists, support workers, service providers.
Yeah.
Someone that's with the NDIS gets this funding.
Yeah.
On its way down the hill, each of these people take a bit. They just take a bit until it gets down here and there's less money.
Yeah.
Like the OTs that we would see, that they're like, oh, you know, I've charged like $600 to come here and teach someone how to make coffee. I'm like, we spent 3 months working with this person to get them to do that and more by themselves. They get there, they sign off, and then they get paid that money for something they didn't do.
Yeah.
So there's no huge problem with the NDIS. The NDIS could be better, but the problem isn't the NDIS. It's not the participants, it's the service providers, where every single fucking facet is just grabbing. Because think about non-for-profits, right?
Yeah, done work for a lot of non-for-profits, yeah.
How do non-for-profits make money? They quote, we need this much
Yeah.
to cover this, and then they don't use the resources they said they needed the money for. So then, therefore, that money they would have spent on that
redirection.
resource is their profit.
Yeah, it is redirected.
It's
That does
fucked.
happen.
And so that's why I'm going to study doing social work, because like I want to do advocacy, because like you can go and do advocacy, or you can be a caseworker and shit, and you can finally start taking this to
This
task.
is really interesting, man. Like, I've got a very, very close friend of mine started out as a nurse, right?
Yeah.
RN, right? And then they moved into mental health, right? And now they
That
started...
is a hard job.
Yeah, massively. Yeah, adolescent mental health as well. Like a very new spectrum, because you used to have like child psychology, adult psychology.
That is a hard job.
But the most changing point in someone's life is adolescence, and there's in the last 15 years, there's been a massive focus on that. And they started as a practitioner in that space, got further education up to a practitioner, got the post nominals of doctor, but a nurse, but a doctor, and now they're looking at opening their own practice. And still working as a consultant for the industry, right? And that's after a 15-year growth after education, yeah? And I resonate with that, because as someone that's in the communication world, you get a communication degree and you might work for a TV station, or you might work for a film company, production company, festival, whatever it is. But the real change isn't the change within. This is strange, because you think, in your mind, you think, if I just get into the industry, I can change it from within?
You cannot.
You can't.
You cannot.
The real change, what I've experienced personally, and from talking to, and especially people in mental health as well, the real change is from practitioners outside the industry.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
And if you want to invoke that and apply yourself that way, I reckon you can really hit some home runs for for people in your industry.
I think it's like it's like on the fence there, like outside agencies, and like, because it's multidisciplinary. Like think about someone with a disability. They have like OTs, physiotherapists, they've got psychologists, they've got their GP, they've got their service providers, and the list goes on. And when you're studying, you hear or you learn that all these people sit around, work together for the betterment of this client or customer, this participant. They don't. They fucking don't. I've been doing it for 6 years. They don't. We would have every single person, like from the doctor, like the GP, to our managers, to our workers, to the OT, to the psychiatrist, man, just point fingers at each other and just say, well, I did my job. Rest is up to
silo
you.
mentality is interesting that way.
And it's
silo mentality.
It's absolutely fucked. So how it's sold is not how it is, and you cannot change it from the inside. I tried and spoke with my union for God knows how long. You can't make a substantial change. But I think that if you're an advocate, then you're that umbrella. You're that umbrella that speaks to all these different multifaceted...
And you can influence policy. You can influence policy through that. If
you're the umbrella over this shit, then maybe... like, you're the true third party, where you would think the doctor is a third party, the OT is a third party, the service provider is a third party. They're not. If you're an advocate, if you're working as an advocate, maybe you're the true third party, because you've got like a bird's eye view of what every single one of these people are doing.
And your incentives are different as well. Your incentives are different.
And you're speaking to and experiencing your participant as well, and seeing the benefits and the detriments of what these measures are. So,
look, a big shout out to another friend of mine that's in mental health as well, Big Mick, mate. Like, he's out in Western New South Wales, Northern South Australia. Try to the same sort of journey that you're talking about. Try to navigate through the middle to invoke change, and then ran into cul-de-sacs everywhere, just dead ends of people going, well, this is how I make a paycheck, mate. Why are you going to disrupt the boat now? But here we go. Well, I got into this industry for the reason of helping people, and the system that we have only mildly achieves that. What I'm trying to do is enhance that so it's more targeted, so the money makes more sense to the end user.
It's so gutting to really, like, if you're doing a care position, like I know disability support workers get more than people that do aged care. Like, asking someone that's working in aged care, like, you doing it for the cash. Like, they're fucking not, man. And it's not because they're not trained. It's not because they're, McDonald's won't employ them, so they have to do this job. Yeah. It's the same for every...
It's not a last resort.
It's the same for every care position. Like, yeah, you wouldn't do it if you weren't getting paid. Shit. Like...
Mate, you got to get remunerated.
Don't be stupid.
Yeah,
people
you need
like,
remuneration.
I so admire what you do. You're like, I'm getting paid.
It's the same as artists, man. Like, I'm a true artist. I'm a true artist. So, but why are you selling your shit if you're a true artist? Like, because I'm an unapologetic capitalist. That's fucking why.
But like,
I want to get paid, bro.
Even though you're doing it because it's a job, like, you chose that job out of how many jobs because you give a fuck.
Yeah. There's multiple elements. It's not just about earning money.
When you get into the industry and just see how immoral it is, how amoral it is. It's nuts. Like, to see how not-for-profits make a profit. It's
insanity.
It really upsets you. When,
even conglomerates are non-for-profit, like, Rolex, right?
Yeah,
non-for-profit organisation. Shit you not. Shit you not.
They're rich as fuck, right?
Go buy a Rolex. See how much it costs you. Second hand.
Yeah.
Actually, there was this guy in Hong Kong. He assured me that it was legit, but I didn't buy it, of course, because I'm like, why do I want to wear that anyway? I've got I've got a fucking, I've got an Apple Watch that can display a Rolex if I need. But yeah, no, it's very true, man. But my position is, like, if you want to change, you have to be a disruptor. The only way you can't be a disruptor within the organisation because you're bound by the policy. You're bound by the rules, the architecture of the space.
Absolutely can't. It doesn't matter how much of an agitator you are, because I'm a...
Unless you're a whistleblower, they can stir shit up.
Habitual agitator in every single position I've ever been in. And, like, I would say habitual agitator is just someone sticking up for their own rights and the rights of the people that they serve. That's it. Apparently that's being an agitator. I'm like, yeah, well, of course.
It sounds like a militant way of saying that someone points out the truth.
Yeah, like, I've done that in every single role to either benefit or detriment since I've ever worked in any fucking role ever. But in the care industry, it's just so glaringly flaccid doing that. I've banged my head against walls. Like, and I'm like, the amount of people I've worked with, great people that do better work than me, that have worked in the industry for longer, say the exact same thing. And then I know people that have gone off to do, because you can just get your ABN and do it independently.
Yeah.
But when you do that, like, you're your own boss, but where's your contacts? Where are you?
Yeah, where's your network?
Where are your clients?
Yeah. Oh, man, I've got to take another piss. Can we just stop the record? I'll be back in 2 seconds. I've got a bladder of a hummingbird.
Here's a beer for you, buddy. All right.
There you go.
Drink it in good health. Let's roll this bad boy.
Always rolling.
Always rolling, baby. Always rolling. Yeah, always Josh Brolin, yeah, man. It's all John Goodman. It's all John Goodman, man.
I don't know why that tickled me fancy.
Oh, look, just don't Christian Bale just yet.
Oh, man. I think I was thinking of Josh Brolin in
Goonies.
Fucking Dune, and I'm like, he's so serious.
Yeah, he is a bit serious.
Juxtaposition. It made me laugh.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, I sorted it for you, and I know what you wanted, baby. Yeah, man. It's important though, Scott. Man, it really is. The mental health of our society is in decline, and don't get me wrong. There's some really good movements out there. Civil rights movements that are happening for people that are less thought of. We're even starting to circulate back to the man. We're starting to look after men now, which is really interesting, I find, because we have our problems, and we need to be looked after a little bit. I think everyone deserves a bit of looking after, and I think that's why it's a bit of a noble pursuit, man. And as I say, as your mate and as someone that knows you pretty well over these years. You can be an advocate, and I reckon if you're gonna make change, you got to do it from the outside.
Well, that's all I've ever tried to do in my job, ever, and it doesn't do anything. So I'm like, maybe I can do a job that's its actual name, so I'm allowed to do that.
The identity is really important.
That would be great. Like it's so much shit that needs to be advocated for that people don't even understand. Just even at the most basic level about how police interact with people with mental illness or people that have intellectual or physical disabilities. Like
I remember seeing some cops like spraying this poor fellow that had a mental disability. I think he was a bit delayed, and he was acting up a bit because of a stressful day that he had, and they spraying a hose in his face, man. Like
I've seen
just crazy.
Firsthand,
It's just crazy.
I think like maybe my first week at work, police came for this person. They hadn't done anything. We were there working with them. Like any time, it's hard to talk about without getting in trouble. Make sure you stay on the right side of the fence. The amount of participants that I've worked with, some of them have issues or behaviours
that attract attention.
Yeah. And sometimes workers will go, "This is scary, I'll call the police." The police aren't trained to deal with people with either mental health issues or intellectual disabilities. Police are a hammer. You send a hammer out to a job, everything's a fucking
Everything's
nail.
a nail, absolutely.
I've known people with disability that have had interaction with the police that are now 5 years down the line terrified of even mentioning the police. Terrified. And it's only because, and like, I'm not saying the police are bad.
Most of them are alright.
I'm not saying there's anything wrong with the police at all about this. I'm saying the police aren't trained for this. They're not the right people for the job for this. If you sent someone out that does this for work, like I'm not lying, I had knives held to my throat like maybe 3 times a week, regularly, in the last job I had. And I found it really easy, and so did I wasn't special. Every other worker as well found it really easy to talk people.
That's amazing. That's commonplace, man. That's insane.
To talk people down and get a knife out of their hands, or at least away from them, and not need to call an ambulance or the police. And we could do that without violence.
Yeah.
The police are taught, rightfully, I suppose, if there's a conflict, a physical conflict, then you have to respond physically.
Yeah, they're taught to tackle an assailant. That's what they're taught.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So where, like, I've worked with, like, 18-year-old chicks, like this big, tiny, that have done the same thing I'm doing, that have talked down someone with a knife up to them. And just very calmly. But if you get the police in there, they train for something different.
Yeah, and they're going to escalate the situation.
Yeah.
Most of the time.
Yeah, and
just their presence escalates that.
That's why, like, in America, they're saying, like, defund the police.
Nah, fund the police, man.
I would not say defund or fund the police. I would say, like, fund more people that do this work, because you will free up the police from doing these jobs that they don't know how to do. Yeah. That they don't know how to do. Have, like, a bunch of people that do community services or mental health or disability or aged care that will go out to these jobs instead of the police. Because every single one of them through their career has never had to grab someone or hit someone or tackle someone.
Yeah, if you're in that role, you're going to become accustomed to it as well. Like, you have assumptions.
Man, it's like...
You're dealing with shit all the time, so everything's shit.
It's like if you send...
It's understandable.
If you send a Sparky to, like, a plasterer's job, I know they hate each other. How would that end up? How the fuck would that end up? You can't send police to a mental health call unless someone else is in danger. You can't send police to a call for someone with an intellectual disability unless they've been trained specifically how to interact with someone with an intellectual disability.
Yeah.
And it's not saying it's like I said, it's nothing against cops. It's just, man, I'm not going to say I can be a policeman. They shouldn't be able to say they can do what I do. They can't. They can't do what I can do. They can't do what the people that I know that have done this job for 30 years can do.
Yeah. I mean, they don't look... But again, they're one of those organisations, like many government organisations. They don't
feel
look
like they wouldn't be upset if we just went, you don't go out to that job. They'd probably be like, thank fuck.
Yeah.
We can go to the actual jobs we know how to respond to and not to this job that I'm just like... I'm not too sure.
But even on the mental health side of things, I don't think the police look after each other. If you look at PTSD rates that are in the police force, like for instance, the fellow that you remember the Cronulla riots, right?
Yeah.
There was one police officer that gets onto
The train guy.
Yeah, and that's a split-second decision, right?
Yeah.
He busted out his baton and he started whacking people off the train in order to protect those that couldn't protect themselves. That's a big call to initiate violence when you know you're being filmed. And you go, I need to protect these people and I need to clear this area. So he made on-the-spot decision to use his baton to clear a space.
Yeah.
And that would, to inflict violence on someone is a big decision. And especially in the public spectrum, it's an even bigger decision in the contrast of that.
Yeah.
This guy ended up with PTSD, ended up outside the police force and was abandoned, man. So this guy who did what other police would describe as some of the best policing decision-making that you would see in an arduous situation, they let him go.
A bunch of bogans were hitting some guys on a train in a closed space. He stopped that from happening.
They were assaulting someone.
And because he was
Hands
in the
down.
news, man, like he couldn't have gotten a job for 10 years.
Yeah, he was abandoned. And he made a difficult, you could argue wrong or right, like you can, and I can see the contrast to that.
Well, you can't fucking anything, can't you?
But you've got to do something, and at least he made a decision, and he made it, and as I say, other police have described this. It was a moment of true policing where he put himself on the line.
Yeah.
He put himself as a target in order to detract from other targets.
Well, see, that training that facilitates that, the training and that foundation that facilitates that is not applicable to mental health or intellectual disability calls. It has nothing to do with that. It can't help. It can only exacerbate. And like even people with like, I don't know how to say, people with hard diagnoses.
Yeah. The
Broad and hard diagnoses. Even people that have these broad and hard experiences in life from their diagnoses, the police are even less qualified to deal with that. So the people that may possibly be confrontational, the police are less equipped to deal with that than someone that is non-violent.
Yeah, and there's personality trait as well. Like the reason you join the police force, like I imagine getting into police chases are fun.
For sure, man.
Shooting a Glock, it's a little bit of fun. Doing some riot training,
snorting coke in the evidence room,
a little bit of fun.
I wouldn't say it's fun, but it's fine.
It's allegedly fun, but no. But look, I tell you what though, if I was on that train being attacked by a mob, I'd want that policeman there to protect me. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. But at the same time, when you watch footage of policemen like attacking people that have a delayed mental capacity because they're acting up a little bit and they're being quite morose about the approach, that's a bit horrible too.
Something as common as ASD. Like
what's ASD?
Well, autism spectrum disorder.
Okay.
But you see in, like, I wouldn't say I've seen anything over here doesn't mean that it hasn't happened over here, but like the most glaring examples of, like, everyone's seen those videos from America where someone has autism and they're having a bit of a day. And like,
which may happen
but
if you
the
like that,
escalation from the police makes it horrible. Like,
it's immediate escalation.
It turns it into something that is justified to manhandle someone.
It turns into a traumatic experience.
Whereas if you had worked with people with ASD, you'd be like, you're fine.
Here's a better sentence. Here's a better word structure to get what I need this person to be more compliant.
Yeah, it's no longer a threat. They're not a nail. You're not a hammer. Like, I think that's what it comes down to. The police serve a purpose, but they do not serve a purpose dealing with anyone that there's a call at. Like, I will say that if like someone is like harming people and they happen to have a mental illness or an intellectual disability, then the police need to be there. But if someone has an intellectual disability or a mental illness and they're having a bit of a day, police do not need to be there.
Yeah.
At all. Police do not need to be there. Police will only exacerbate it. Just their presence will
that's what I mean.
that.
Yeah, just the
I've
presence.
been in those situations.
A lot of them are dressed to invade Poland, though. Let's face it. They got a taser, a gun, and a fucking bulletproof vest.
I've spoken to some really nice cops, like
totally,
on these
me
calls.
too.
Like when I've been working with these people, and the cops have shown up, some really accommodating police, but still. Doesn't matter how accommodating they are, and like it was crazy that they were this good at this.
Oh, it's a mood changing experience.
Just their presence has made everything worse.
Well, we've all experienced that. Police walk into a pub, changes the atmosphere immediately. Yeah, right.
And so I'm like, what I'm saying, I suppose, is it's not their fault, but they need to not be there. They need shouldn't they be happier if they don't have to go to those?
Yeah, totally.
If we fund other people to go to those, people that
another agency is what you're saying.
Yeah, people that actually have experience.
A different mental care first responders.
Well, think about it. Well, like think about it. Like say when you're gonna kill yourself and you're like, oh, call that fucking line. That telephone number. You don't call the police for that. Right?
That's true, yeah. It's lifeline. It's beyond blue.
If you
headspace.
If you've got anxiety or you're having panic attacks, you don't go to the police, do you? If you've got autism and you're not having a great time with all this barrage, you don't go to the police. None of this needs the police, and least of all, anyone with any schizoaffective diagnoses needs the police. Least of all, like there's no reason for the police to be there.
Yeah,
at all. And like it's not like fuck you. Like it's the police aren't choosing to go there. They're being sent there. There needs to be like this fucking iron curtain, man, between.
Yeah, but it's the violent criminal aspect, right? So that's the transfer point where they go, well, this is a potential for violence, and that's what they're worried about.
Yeah, but see that's the whole thing. Like if there's a violent criminal, send the police. But if there's not a violent criminal, you don't need to send the police. You don't need to think ahead, is this a violent criminal?
Yeah.
If you had a bunch of people that weren't police that have worked in the industry for so long, someone could call them. They go, all right, we'll send this to police. Or they go, oh, we won't.
I must admit, though, like some of my I do a bit of doom scrolling. Like I'm a doom scroller. I it's sad to admit, but I do it, and it's a little bit addictive, like outrage porn, right?
Yeah,
bit of outrage porn. My favorite outrage porn is American police interactions.
It kills me. I have to watch it every time it shows up.
I hate it. Yeah. I fucking hate it.
Whether the police are in the wrong or the right, I've got to watch it.
I have to watch it, right?
Yeah, it's killer.
And and the other one that really popped up was...
If the police are right, like, haha, sucked in, other person. If the police are wrong, like, haha, sucked in, police... I'm fine.
Well, there's been a surge of Australian police content as well. Like you got the Australian Cossack, right? You ever watched it?
Oh yeah, all these these fuckwits.
Yeah, just antagonising cops and filming it. You know, it's
You know
like
what I find funny about these
I
motherfuckers?
find it disturbing, but I still fucking watch it. Man.
They don't adhere.
I still watch it.
They don't adhere
It's
to
terrible.
like the country's laws, or more importantly, societal norms. But they're the same people who go, if you don't like the country, get out. I'm like, you don't.
You are antagonising the fringe of these rules. Yeah.
The
That's what I mean. Like, I find myself so hypocritical. I go,
Yeah.
man, this is so entertaining. I can't stop watching.
Oh yeah,
this
it's
outrage
trash.
porn.
It's like watching Dr. Phil or some shit.
Yeah,
it's just fucking trash.
terrible. It's
Yeah.
trash. It's just mental junk food,
It's
right?
like I reckon it's like serotonin, but like this thick sludge that just runs through your veins, swells them. It's not good for you.
I feel it happening to me. Like, run, man! No, tell that guy, fuck off! Yeah, fuck that guy. I find myself doing that, but that's where that's what I'm hypocritical about, because I go, but you're antagonising the police. Of course they're gonna have a negative reaction. You're testing them.
Yeah.
Like Long Island, First Amendment audit tester. Yeah, I love that guy.
Oh man,
Love him.
those guys are nuts. Like
Walks into a post office, starts fucking
I'm
pissing
totally
people off.
for if a cop walks up to you and goes, "Give me your ID," I'm like I don't need to. Like that's fine. But then when he goes, "No, you fucking better," you're like, all right, well, as long as you verbally go, "I'm complying, but I don't consent," do it. Just do whatever the fuck they say.
It's
And
never,
don't consent to it.
it's never happened to me.
It's
Never happened to me though.
These cunts are just like, no.
No.
And then they got a foot on the throat. You're like, how did that happen? Like, man, it's
You
not
need to
right.
articulate the crime. You
It's
need to
not-
articulate the
it's-
crime that
it's-
you commit. Yeah, you're
man.
accusing me of.
It's not right, but cancer's not right, and it still happens. If a cop's being a piece of shit to you, man, let him be a piece of shit.
Yeah.
Like fuck, and then go to court.
If you look back to Australian history, this is where it gets interesting, man. Like we were talking about before, like the formation of parliaments, the first hospitals built in Australia were built
Yeah.
for the rum trade, right? All Irishmen, right? All the cops in Victoria during Ned Kelly. Well, you got to understand, right?
Oh, you mean the line breakers?
Yeah, man. These
Yeah.
guys were all Irish as well. So you had Irish criminals and Irish cops. And then you realise, like, this is where I must channel Jack Nicholson. Right?
How did you do that so well?
I got to channel that shit, right? Because you ever seen The Departed? He would say in that movie,
Man, he overacted in that one scene where he's like, the rats. And like, oh, you killed the whole movie. And you just overacted it.
Fucking rats.
Yeah, you overacted in that 2 seconds. Fucking hell.
Yeah, but he's Jack Nicholson. He can do what he wants.
Yeah, of course, man. Yeah.
But he has a line in that movie that really resonates with me, because you think about the truth of it, and that line is, cops, robbers, when you're facing a loaded gun, what's the difference? And it's very true when you think about that in the context, especially in the history of our country. What's the difference between an Irishman that's selling rum or a crooked Victorian Irish cop?
Yeah.
What's the difference? When you're in battle, when you're in physical altercation, what's the difference?
Institutions are corrupt. Name one institution that's not corrupt.
I make $1 one way, you make $1 another way, and
Yeah.
here we are at blows.
Like,
you know?
Absolutely. I swear. I'll give you $100. You name one institution that is not corrupt throughout of all of history.
Oh, absolutely, man. And
There's
religion's the most corrupt of them all. Like, they are the most corrupt. They're like evil corrupt, which is ironic, right? They're evil corrupt, like fucking kids and fucking crazy shit, man. They're fucking evil corrupt.
I mean, I don't mind, like, well, no one asked me, so I don't know why I say I don't mind.
Well, you know,
But like,
never been asked
fucking,
this one.
man, I don't mind people that are religious. I don't believe it. I think it's really stupid. And an escapist. The same way I play video games, you know what I'm doing? I'm wasting time. I'm escaping into another reality.
There is an element of certainty to it, yeah.
I'm not dealing with actual reality right now. And I feel like religion, that's a lifelong thing. But that's okay if people do that. Who gives a fuck? But you know what's bad? Organized religion.
Yeah.
Organized religion as fuck. People that are religious, they're fine. But organized religion is fucked. As soon as you unionize something that makes no sense, it's fucked.
Well, we tell kids that Santa's not real, and then you find out Jesus is not real, and you're really hurt, you know?
I remember being in year 2. My family's Catholic, and I swear to fuck, I did in a public school, you do that weird scripture shit. You get taken out of class once a week for 2 hours, and you're like, yeah, no class, and you have to listen to this fucking person talk about the Bible and shit. But still, it's not class. It's cool. I don't have to do tests on anything. I remember doing that. And in year 2, I walked out, and these 2 nuns laughing and shit, and one of them was like, Jesus or something. They were probably just swearing and shit. But I went home, I was like, were they laughing about God not being real? Because I just found out Santa wasn't real. And I'm
no.
Is God not real? I'm crying and shit. I'm crying. My mum's like, no, that's not what they're doing. It's fine. It's fine. And I'm you could have pulled the Band-Aid off then instead of when I was older. Come on, man. Why'd you make me wait for it?
I got banned from scripture. I wasn't allowed to go. It's a terrible story, man. It really is. Well, they said they told me that the sun was created on 7 days creation, right? So the 7th day God rested, yada yada. But the 3rd day, in the start of the Bible in Genesis,
7 days takes so long. How long does it take for a black hole to eject all of its mass?
Time scale's an issue. Oh, we lost the fucking camera there, Mr. Yarn. Can you switch to Scotty B while I do some word vomit here? No, but the audience is going to have to handle looking at you while I do this speech, right? But
I feel bad for him.
Yeah, I feel bad too, man. I'm a bit distraught.
You're supposed to say the opposite, you piece of shit.
Yeah, no, I should have been more complimentary, but I thought, no, fuck Scotty B. He's a crazy cunt. Fuck that guy. No, I got banned from scripture, man. No shit.
That's mad.
I got banned from scripture, and I was innocent.
What year?
Year 3.
I was gonna say after year 4, that's way too edgy and lame.
Year 3, I got banned, but
year 4 and down. Hectic.
Oh, dude, I asked an honest question. Okay, so the beginning of Genesis in the big book, they say.
You're like, did Eve have titties? Get out of class.
Well, that came later. That one came later, actually. That synopsis came later. But or hypothesis, if you will. It was they said, "Let there be light." At the start of the universe. And when I reflect on that, you go, well, that's a big bang, right? Let there be light. That sounds like let there be light sounds like a sentence that means explosion.
Yeah.
Right? But then they said there was the 7 days of creation. And on the 3rd day they created the sun. And I was a scientific minded kid. How did you measure? I put my hand up and I asked, how did you measure day 1 and 2? They're like, what do you mean? I said, well, if I'm
not like I want an itinerary on the entire 7 days. Like, what happened in day 1 and 2, dickhead? Because you've got them after day 2. Like,
nothing. What about this one? Dead. Oh shit! I got another one. Oh shit! I got a dead battery. Oh fuck!
Yeah, that's fucking awesome. You didn't even go to day 3. You're like, all right, what happened on day 1 and 2, fuckwit?
Oh no, but but day 1 and 2, because in my mind, I was like, but we measure the day, based on the sun. So a 24-hour period is 12 hours.
That's why year's called a sol.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. That's right. It's a solar optical ellipsis. I can't remember. Anyway, the first 2 days, if there's no sun, how did you measure the day?
Oh, it's
semantical, I know.
Just figured it out.
Well, I asked that question.
Did you know we had a guy that made fish out of wine? Is that what you're asking?
No, but I remember being
He was a rocket surgeon.
I remember being so honest and genuinely curious to how they measured the day. And they you're out. We don't like that question. But it was when you fast forward into history, you realise, did Adam and Eve have a belly button?
Straight up.
Straight up, right?
I'm thinking about both of them with no belly buttons. I'm like, oh, fuck one.
That's hot. It's fucking hot. It's fucking hot.
Which one? The one that'll take me.
I got kicked out of scripture pretty quickly.
My
honest question though, I wasn't trying to be a smart ass. I just wanted to know. And and my mother said to me, she goes, "Now you understand religion."
Yeah.
She was very blunt about it. And she never told me to believe or not believe. None of that. Just go and experience it.
My mum would
go and experience it and get back to me.
Book, like children's Bible stuff when I was going to bed, and these are fond memories. My mum's reading to me while I'm going to sleep, but she hates it now. She fucking hates it now. She's like at Christmas. I'm like, oh, you know what? We should listen to Christmas carols, and I'll put on the H.P. Lovecraft Historical Society songs that are not actually Christmas carols.
Yeah, but I'm a bit attuned to that because I don't mind honours and traditions. Because what you're talking about there is a bit of honour and tradition, right? Like for instance, I don't mind the Catholics, man. I grew up, half Catholic family, half Anglican, half Catholic family.
You know what I don't dig about Christians or Catholics in general? Not the people, but the belief. The biggest hypocrisy they have is the hugest chink in their armor. They're like, all right, so get this.
Original sin? We doing original sin here?
Nah, fuck original sin. What's God, right? He's omnipotent.
He likes to eat all foods?
Everything that's...
Not omnivorous, Ross. It's omnipotent.
Anything that's ever existed, ever, God has made. And if he hasn't made it yet, he's got a plan for it. He's going to make it. Anything he's made, he has a plan for it. Everything that he's made, whatever it's done, that thing he made, he had a plan for. It's him. Everything's him. And
no free will. That means there's no free will.
Well, no, free will is his plan, so free will is not free will.
If free will is his plan, that means he has no foresight of what the outcome is.
If anything happens that God did not plan, that means God is fallible. God cannot be fallible. He's infallible, or he doesn't exist, right? And so
we're going to dogma here. I can feel some dogma quotes coming up.
So you get down to sin, right? And they're like, sin is bad, and you're like,
but we also
who created sin? The devil. Who created the devil? God. Does God have a plan for everything? Yeah. Or did the devil bamboozle him? Did God have no idea that sin would exist? God is supposed to know.
Yeah, but I can get that. When you get an intern on and you get an intern, right? And you go, oh man, you're so green, you have no idea. And then they go, you should get on TikTok. And you're like, I don't like TikTok. But then you get on TikTok and you realise that it increases your audience reach by 30%. You go, fuck, that little prick was right. And I love making TikToks. Yeah. They're so fantastic. I love making them. It's such an editing pleasure. I love it. And you realise that the intern knew more than you. I think that's a little bit what's going on there.
It's hilarious.
So the devil was he read a couple of more books. That's all.
Every single Christian
Satan's
religion.
on TikTok, by the way, kids. Check out hashtag Satan.com.au.
Not even every Christian religion. I would say every Abrahamic religion would have the caveat that God knows all and he's infallible.
Yeah, that's right.
Anything happens,
that's their deal.
If anything ever happened that he didn't know of, that means that he is not all-knowing. He's not God, right? That's a heavy thing for them.
Well, they talk about him rolling dice as well, yeah.
If they're like, sin's bad, you're like, why? Because the devil made it. Who made the devil? God. And God has a plan for everything. He knows everything that has or ever will happen.
He's mysterious.
And so he created it, man. God created sin. And if everything God makes is good, then sin is good. Total hypocrisy, man. As soon as people sin's bad, well, if sin's bad, that means that the devil is more clever than God because he made this thing God didn't want to exist. That means that the devil is a creator and he managed to make something that God had no idea was going to exist.
Yeah, the intern that recommends TikTok and knowing that he was right. I get that. Yeah, totally. They will refer to it as monotheism, right? So the one true God. But do you know that the Italians, they call
I've heard of them.
Near Sicily, right? Western Europe, right? The Italians, they pray to like Mother Mary. They pray to
Yeah, which is blasphemous.
yeah, because they're not praying to the one true God.
Yeah, man.
Do you know that Jesus is 7th on the list?
Oh, for real?
For real, like they pray to Michael, which is the Metatron. They pray to.
Man, he washed that bird's feet. Give him a break.
Doesn't sound like monotheism to me.
You're my favorite part of the Bible ever.
Sounds like a multiple God scenario.
The best part ever in the Bible is when Noah made the world's first wine. He this is after they.
Was Noah the first wine?
Yeah, Noah made the world's first wine.
First boat, first wine.
Yeah, man, he's just racking them up. He fucking
hates unicorns. That
did
guy
the boat shit.
hates unicorns.
After the flood's gone, and they everyone gets off the boat, and the millions of animals apparently they all get off the boat. There's a tent. Man, Noah is fucking drunk as shit. His first son.
I can relate to that.
His first son walks in. And, Noah's naked. He's naked and hammered. And his first son walks in. He's like, Dad, apparently...
Put it away, bro.
Apparently, according to the Bible, that is the bad son. The good son is the one that walks
Love seeing your dick, Dad. Love seeing dick.
Holding a fucking, like a blanket.
Yeah, well, Noah was 900...
So the one that walks in and he's naked, drunk, first drunk person ever, by the way... And it's his dad, and he's naked, and they've just got off this boat with all these animals and shit. He walks in that tent, and he's like, oh, he's like, fucking evil.
Yeah, but Noah was 900 years old, right? So I imagine his junk was a bit, how you going?
I like when I talk to people.
Not to mention his belly button would be fucking pruned, right? Our belly button would look like a fucking, an asshole with white hair coming out of it.
I like when I talk to people that are,
too much. I know. I'm offending everyone here.
Anyone that talks about the Bible, I like talking to them.
I'm sorry, Miss Fenwick from Scripture.
About the timeline is absolutely literal. It's perfect. Jesus was in the desert for 40 days, 40 nights, or fucking whatever. Or was that Alibaba? I don't know. It's
it might have been the Kardashians. I'm not sure.
As soon as there's a timeline, man, I like going, no, that was very literal. They're like, no, it wasn't. I'm like, oh, so the word in the Bible wasn't...
It's not literal.
Wasn't... Well, not that one.
So what you're saying is the first day of creation could have been a 25-hour day.
Yeah.
Or a 26-hour day, or a 40 million year
God bless him,
day.
any religious person that
Can't take it literal.
Any religious person that I know does not go, hey, you know about this thing in the Bible? No one ever does that, man. Just like we don't say to them, you know what is in the fucking Bible? You just leave it alone. It's fine.
Yeah, but
the people that do on the street corners hit them with those.
Well, the people that take the Bible literally are crazy in my mind, because if you look at it in a canon literature point of view, an academic point of view, if you will, right? I love using if you will because it makes me sound academic-y.
One Enoch was cool. The other Enoch was taken up by the Lord. The only person in the Bible that didn't have an explanation on when they lived or when they died, Enoch was taken up by the Lord.
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah. Solomon begat Ava. Ava begat Solomon.
Which sounds
like
Quran,
someone's brother is having kids with feet that are bent the wrong way. But
didn't someone in the Quran ascend to heaven on a winged horse?
Yeah, no, it was Muhammad, man.
Muhammad
ascended to heaven.
Since they're all Abrahamic religions, I reckon Enoch.
I think they call it substantiation.
Yeah,
I believe
if they're saying in the Bible Enoch was taken up by the Lord, the only person that they didn't say how or why he died or left or was born, and then you've got fucking Muhammad that went up on the horse and shit.
Yeah.
I reckon, and they're both Abrahamic religions. Got to be the same.
Yeah,
the same guy.
Oh, yeah. The adaptation of your foe's story, because you assimilate it, right? The Romans were really good at this. They assimilate. You can conquer a society, but you can't kill their god, right? So just assimilate it into your doctrine. Now, don't kill the god, because then they'll revolt, right? And we need to collect the tax, because we've got to build these motherfucking roads, bro, and we've got to put tolls on those motherfucking roads. Because
making aqueducts, bitch.
Yeah, man, we're fucking doing plumbing, bro. We're doing plumbing, and we're eating lead, and we're smoking fucking this trippy shit. Oh man, I've got gods everywhere. Look, no, I think the monotheism idea is a bit flawed, But we're talking about the shadow, right? Let me talk about the light a little bit in that spectrum. Like, if you go back in the day and a mother dies with her 7th born child,
sucked in.
Shit, bruh. No, but what do you tell the other 6 kids, you know? You don't say, oh, well, she's in the ground now and the worms are eating her. You don't tell them that. You tell them she's up in the sky, man. She's looking down on you. You've got to tell a nice story.
That much, man. Like,
You've got to tell a nice story.
That's what fucking makes me insane about religion. You don't need to go that far. Did you know? Obviously you do, but like, fuck. Like, you know, atoms don't dissipate. There's atoms, there's subatoms, and from those upwards we got like what, molecules and then genes.
The macro to the micro is quite intense, man.
But the building blocks of life never dissipate. They don't go away.
Yeah, they don't change.
So
they're unchanging.
How selfish are we as an animal that we're like, no, I know that everything that makes up my body will never die. Everything. But I just want to be able... On top of that, I want to be able to remember people I know or TV shows I've seen.
My consciousness is so superior, I'm actually reincarnated and I'm being duplicated across eons.
We have eternal life, man. Like, it's proven we have eternal life. Like, dust is skin cells. Man, and fucking what does dust turn into? Heat. And then heat dissipates.
Oh, totally, man.
Goes somewhere else, turns into another form. Like, man, but like subatomic particles don't just cease to exist. So everything that makes us will always exist, will live forever. But no, we also want to think.
Dude, you just made a statement that's a total other hour. I'll try to do it in 3 minutes. The way I look at this is ratios, right? So you would know, looking at the night sky, you would see Orion's belt. Yeah, the dish pan.
The great bong in the sky.
The big bong in the sky, right?
Yeah.
And out to the side of it, you'll see a bright star called Sirius. And amongst that constellation, you'll also see a small star that's orange called Betelgeuse. Yeah?
Yeah.
1,000 suns.
Did you like how it just went yellow? Like I knew.
I know what you're doing. Yeah, I know it. But here's the ratio, right? Let me take you on a ratio journey. Let me take you on 2 ratio journeys, especially for the end of the Pagey train this year, man. Let me take you on 2 journeys.
Yeah.
So the first ratio journey I'll take you on is about Sirius, the star Sirius. Just look at the frying pot.
I like that this is happening right now.
Trippy, I know it's trippy. We haven't even dropped acid yet, man. It's intense. When you look at Orion's belt, you'll see a bright star out to the side of it, and that's called Sirius. You can fit 1,000 suns inside Sirius.
That's pretty mental.
Do you want to know what's more mental?
What?
You can fit 1,000 Siriuses inside Betelgeuse. Here's where it gets more crazy, man. Like, I've just gave you a small ratio, a small comparison. Let me do a larger comparison for you.
Yeah.
If we were to take a micrometer and measure a billiard ball.
Wait, what's a micrometer?
A micrometer is something that measures very small distances.
Yeah.
Very small, like nano distances, like, nanometers. Very small. Almost down to the atom.
Like measuring Peter Dutton's
intellect.
Incline to his decline. Yeah,
his intellect versus his ambition.
Yeah.
Big ratio. If you look at a billiard ball, you would think of it as smooth, yeah?
Yeah.
The shine of a billiard ball has a bigger ratio than the Marianas Trench and Mount Everest.
For real?
Yeah, man. So Mount Everest and the Marianas Trench is a smaller ratio than the shine on a billiard ball. We live on the shine of that billiard ball. That billiard ball can fit inside the sun 1,000,000 times. 1,000 times inside a Jupiter, and a Jupiter can fit inside the sun 1,000 times. Therefore, the Earth can fit inside the sun 1,000,000 times. We live on the surface of that shine, inside of that object that we look at every day. That object that we look at every day is one of the smallest, tiniest objects in space. It's so small. I can't even express it. Let's go further. Let's go further than this, right? So, if you look at Betelgeuse, it fits 1,000 times inside of Antares. These stars that we see out there that are visible are very large. Very large. The most prominent stars that you see in the night sky are by orders of magnitude bigger than our sun. Let's get crazier. Have you ever looked at the deep space object? Hey, Jan, can you type in a deep space object?
You know all about this space stuff. Can you confirm or debunk this? I heard that in the space between the Earth and the Moon, if you got all the planets, they would fit in between them. If you squash them together, but if you put every planet between the space between the Earth and the Moon,
I would argue that that's a little bit out of whack.
That sounds crazy because Jupiter, right?
It's close.
Jupiter and Saturn.
Jupiter and Saturn are very similar in size. Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Well, Jupiter is the largest object other than the Sun in our... you could fit all of the planets inside of Jupiter with room to spare.
All right, so you've debunked it for me.
Yeah, I believe that's a little bit out of whack. But I would say it's not that far out of whack. It's within it's within realm, but I need to confirm if that's true or not. But I would argue that it's
that would just be insane.
It's a little bit out.
As soon as I heard it, I'm like, that can't be real.
It's a little bit outside of that.
That cannot be real.
If Jupiter was...
Even if we're fucking off Pluto.
If you I'm pretty sure if you contrasted Earth at the edge of Jupiter and you try to put the Moon in that ratio, the Moon would be within Jupiter. That's how big it is. It's a fucking massive thing. Yeah. Can you go to a deep space object? Go deep space image, actually. Can you type image instead of object?
Deep Space 9. Yeah. Janeway, please.
Yeah. Do deep space image. Yeah. Pull up the left one. That left one there. Okay. So let's look at this, right? Just pull that up as a bigger image if you could. Any one of those. Yeah.
Good.
Okay, so see all these dots, right?
Yeah.
They're not stars.
Yeah.
They're galaxies.
Yeah, man. This shit's fucking awesome.
All right, how big of if you were looking in the sky, how big do you think that is? Is it the size of a 20-cent piece?
Let's say like a 5-cent piece.
It's a pinprick.
A pinprick.
That's a pinprick.
That's mental.
That's a pinprick.
That's mental.
That's on the verge of the ratio. We haven't got there yet. We're not there yet. Let me take you on another journey. I said I was going to do 2 journeys, but it's actually meant 3. Okay. How fast are we traveling right now between me and you? 0, yeah?
How fast is the planet traveling?
Okay, so it's spinning at 10,000 k's an hour.
I would have thought more.
But no, just the spin.
Yeah.
How fast is it moving in the ellipse? 100,000?
Did you see me? Did you know I did 1 unit maths? Did you see me just go, takes 365 days. How long? Like
yeah, but it's true that's the right calculation to make. That's the right calculation to make, right? Okay, so the Earth is spinning around the Sun at 100,000 k's an hour. How far? The Sun's not central in space, by the way. It's also in motion.
And there's minimal resistance in space, so even though we've got a tilted axis.
Yeah, and
that would there be a little bit of a slowdown, even though it's minimal.
It's slowing down
in space.
Back in the day, it was a 25-hour day.
Get fucked.
No shit, bro.
Man,
during the dinosaurs, 25-hour day.
My science teacher, I was an idiot.
It's slowing down, and in fact, the moon is getting closer to the Earth as well.
Shit.
Yeah. And the wobble of the Earth, they call that precession, right? But that's another conversation. But the Earth is spinning around the Sun at 100,000 k's an hour. It is spinning on a dime at 10,000
k's.
100,000 k's an hour. The Sun is not central in space. It is also moving. It's traveling at 500,000 k's an hour.
Well, our galaxy's moving anyway. Like,
yeah, good.
That's why. Like, have you heard that dumb shit where like, you know, the dinosaurs live on the other side of the galaxy? Yeah, technically they did. Because,
they did.
Because our solar system was on the other side of the galaxy when they existed.
The galaxy takes 250,000 years to do an entire rotation.
That's cool as fuck.
Do you know how fast it's traveling?
Go on then.
500,000 k's an hour. Did you know that the galaxy is also in orbit with another galaxy? It's called Andromeda.
Yeah.
It's traveling at 1 million kilometers per hour. Let's get crazier. We talked about the Big Bang earlier, right?
The big expansion, I'd rather.
Yeah, the explosion of light.
Yeah.
So how fast is the galaxy? How fast is the universe growing?
Are we in?
If it's an explosion of light,
yeah.
how fast is the expansion happening? The speed of light, bro. We are not stationary. We are currently traveling at the speed of light. Do you know what's even crazier?
Are we not even in a decline yet? Like a contraction?
Let's get crazier. It's accelerating. So not only are we traveling at the speed of light, it's getting faster.
That's stupid.
We're an explosion of light, and we live on the microbe that's a part of that mechanism.
I'm going to talk to the council about that.
Yeah. Bribe them to cut your trees. But okay, so I took you on that journey. Let me do one more journey with you.
Please.
Can I do one more journey with you?
I'm fucking loving this shit.
There's one of my favourite journeys to take people on, and it's the concept of a million. It's the concept of a million conversation, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so a good way to grasp numbers is to convert them to things that are relative. You know, like, there's 100 cents in a dollar, but you can fit $1 in your hand, or you could fit 100 1-cent pieces in your hand. Yeah. Concept of 100. It can be a singular, or it can be 100 units in your hand. So now you got the concept of 100, yeah?
Yeah.
So let's do a concept of a million. Convert 1 million seconds to days for me. Just I'll give you 20 seconds. You're not going to get it right. If you do get it right, fantastic.
1 million seconds
into days. How long is it?
Did you see me look pensive? Like,
what was that?
I'm thinking about it. I've got no fucking idea.
Have a guess. Just a guess. Shadow guess.
How many days?
Have a guess.
2,065 days.
No, way off. It's okay. It's okay because this is a good exercise. I promise you that there is a cherry on the end of this fucking cupcake, right?
Something makes me feel less dumb. Thanks, man.
No. It's not an object to make you feel dumb.
No.
If you sat down with a calculator, you'd work it out, right?
Yeah.
But
well, that works, man. That's a working calculator.
It's 11 days.
11 days.
11 days, million seconds.
Oh, shit.
All right, let's do a billion. How long is a billion seconds?
Well, it's exponential, isn't it?
It is. It's not
11
days, it's years. How many years?
How many years? 11 days up to fucking 50 years?
That's a good guess. That's a really good guess. It's 26 years.
That's not a really good guess.
It is, man. Because you didn't do 100. You didn't do like 1. You did like, it was a decent double digit, right? I never got this right when I did this, by the way. I was nowhere near right. Let's do a trillion. Trillion seconds. How long?
A trillion.
It's in thousands of years. I'll give you that much. It's in thousands of years.
Trillion seconds.
31,000 years.
Would not have guessed that.
Right?
Surprise, surprise.
All right, now we've done this comparison of seconds to days, right? Now you've got a little bit of a contact with the numbers, yeah?
Yeah.
Let's turn it into money. Let's turn this into money. So over your life, if we work really hard, you'll buy a house that'll be worth about $1 million.
Yeah.
And when you die, you're going to give that house to your offspring. Or a really good friend.
They wish jellyfish.
Or the government's going to reclaim it. Either which way, it's worth $1 million, right? So a billionaire, and that's 11 days. So your whole lifetime is worth 11 days. A billionaire is 26 years of power. A trillionaire is 31,000 years.
That's insane.
You've got it now, don't you?
We haven't even hit a go-goal.
Haven't hit a Google. A Googleplex, for those that are listening, a Google is 1,000,000 zeros after 1.
Yeah, shit.
And a Googleplex is a Google of zeros after 1. So you now have the concept of million versus billion versus trillion. Yeah. So now you understand the difference between Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos.
Which is what I wanted to know.
We're 11 days, bro.
Man, that's...
If at best. best, you're 11 days.
That's
At your best, you're
That's
11
insane.
days versus 26 years.
That's
versus
like those
31,000
really
years.
well done, like starting off on a house on Google Earth and then going up, 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 up. Like it's like that shit. That's so good.
Yeah, well,
If that doesn't give you like either ennui at the least, or like cosmic horror at the most, you're mental.
oh, cosmic horror is my favorite. Oh, let me give you another one. 12 hours on a clock. Yeah.
Yeah,
Let's say that the Earth was 12 hours old
yeah.
in its entirety. How long have humans been here?
Fucking not long. Like man, the dinosaurs were here longer than we've been.
350 million years.
Yeah.
65 million years ago.
Is it like points of a second?
No, it's not that small. I'll give you a ratio for that.
2 minutes.
That's a great guess. Fucking mad guess, bruh. 1 minute.
1 minute. Yeah.
12 hours. We've been here from Neanderthal, from the spread of like the 6 humans that existed and us being the better marathon runners. Here we are, right?
From our
Better
from
puzzle.
our ancestor.
Yeah, better puzzle solvers, better marathon runners. Here we are, right? Modern science. How long?
Modern science, 3 seconds.
Great fucking guess, bruh.
Man.
4.
Fuck.
4 seconds. Modern science is 4 seconds.
Shit.
So here we are on a 4 second.
Like from soap, 3 seconds.
Let me tie it all. Yeah, man. Let me tie it all together for you. We're living on a billiard ball
Yep.
that is amongst a googaplex of billiard balls
Yeah.
that has been around for 4 seconds.
That's hectic.
Who live amongst people that have 31,000 years of power versus 11 days. That's where we live. That's where we're at. That's reality. Suck it up, baby.
Fuck off.
True story, man. True story, man. True story. And that's the strangest thing I've learned.
Fuck you, because Camus says doesn't matter anyway.
But you know what does matter? I'll tell you this, man. If you look at first Australians and 60,000 years of history in land management, that matters. Art on walls.
80,000 years.
Yeah, it's increasing, right?
Yeah.
And we're learning now that the ancient apocalypse was there, the big flood that's contrasted across all of the stories of our myths. It turns out we've probably been around for a good 100,000 years.
Yeah.
And had world navigation abilities. We circumnavigated the globe before the fall, and here we are now flying the globe and landing on the moon, right? This is where we're at. But For now. But this is where it gets crazy, man. The observable universe is 13.8 billion years. This is what I tell people and I spin them out. Do you know why we can't see beyond 13.8 billion years?
Why?
Because it's travelling faster than the speed of light.
You know what I was reading the other day?
Because we're travelling faster than the speed of light. It's crazy.
What I was reading the other day was
That's
wacky
existence,
as
man.
fuck. It's like everyone knows
Fucking spins
about
me
the
out, bro.
simulation
Spins me
argument. It's like it's not a theory. Everyone knows the simulation argument, right? Everyone knows that.
Yeah, totally.
But I was reading something the other day that fucking blew me out of the water.
Yeah.
Where this guy was saying, in Super Mario Brothers, you can hack Super Mario Brothers the game by doing a certain sequence of movements.
Yeah.
Just certain sequence of movements with Mario. You have hacked the game. So, if we are living in a simulation, we could do certain movements
To be the cheat codes.
Yeah.
I like it.
To hack the simulation, and then we.
It's clearly podcasting. Clearly, it's podcasting.
But how good's that? Like if someone said, "Oh, if we're living simulation," and I bought in, I'm like, "Yeah, okay." They're like, "We can hack it." I'm like, "Oh, fuck off, idiot!" They're like, "But we can be Super Mario, and just do jump sideways." Yoshi spits a fireball. Now we can fly. You're like, "Oh yeah." Like if that totally works. And so this guy was saying, he said straight out, he goes, "I don't believe magic works at all. But if we are in a simulation and we could hack into it, it would.
What is the cheat code?
It would look like magic. You would do shit, and he quoted this thing like this ancient magic spell shit where it was like skin a lion and then write your mother's name on it and then put red wine on that and shit and all these dumb fucking things, and like it was a real like
I can't hold this
magic
piss,
thing.
bro. I can't hold this piss. I gotta go. I'll be back.
Go.
Oh, we're rolling already. Always rolling. Yeah, sorry I had to duck off of that piss, man, but I've got the bladder of a humming fucking bird. That's
okay. Shut up. End the show.
No, but certainly I definitely need the hack cheats or the codes
Doesn't
for God
that make
mode.
sense though?
Pull your chair in, bro. Pull your chair in. Pull your chair in. What are you doing?
Doesn't that make sense though?
It does a little bit.
Like, imagine it.
What you're saying is
If
I need
it-
to bash
if-
my head above bricks above me and a mushroom will appear.
You could do anything. That's what he was saying. He goes, he cited like this dumb, stupid, like magic fucking incantation. He goes, as a scientist, if we were in a simulation, that's probably what you would do to hack the simulation. Just these random things in a row, just like Mario jumping, getting Yoshi to spare.
Have you seen the film Everything All at Once?
How good's that?
That's kind of in the ilk of what you're talking about, is the randomness of doing things, right? Yeah, man. That was mad film. But hey, man, look, I know I'm really at the end, man. I'm up to 3 piss breaks. We've done 2 cigars. Let's fucking jump out of this fucking burning plane. What do you reckon? It's actually a burning train when you think about it.
Whatever, man. I don't give a fuck.
It's not on fire. It's not on fire. It's a little bit on fire. No, we'll wrap it up, man. But let me just spruik the festival for a little bit because it's coming out next week, 26th of November. Don't forget to show up. The tickets are free. Go and check us out on Made in the West, www.madeinthewest.com, and go and check out our festival. You can run into crazy cats like my best friend here, Scotty B.
Wait.
Yeah, right. I can handle that. No, but man, look, thank you so much for being on the show. Like, we can delve into any topic from religion to politics to just talking absolute shit.
I love sitting here and being an uneducated piece of shit with you and just talking dumb fucking shit.
Oh man, look, I you may say that, but I would say that you're quite worldly, and I really enjoy your company, man. And I love talking absolute shit with you in this forum, man. It's fantastic, really is. Really is, man. No, but thank you for being on the show. And by the way, like you do, I know we didn't talk about it a lot tonight, but you do a little bit of art on the side, a little bit of sketching here and there.
I don't sell anything, man. No
you should, man. You got fucking talent, bro.
Everyone keeps saying it. I'm like, you fucking solid dickhead.
Yeah, no, man. You got some chops, man. You should get out there more and more, and I really respect you, man. So thank you for being on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Not a problem.
You beautiful man.
And you guys have been watching the Pagey Train. Don't forget to go and check us out on Spotify. That's right, video on Spotify. But hey, if you're on YouTube, while you're there, don't forget to subscribe. But for you avid listeners out there, I know you're out there on, a little bit of Spotify as well, but also iHeartRadio and Apple iTunes. Basically anywhere you can find podcasts. Podcast? It's podcast. Had a few beers, but that's all right. Basically, anywhere you can find podcasts. Don't forget to follow, subscribe, and make sure you tick like. But hey, guys, thank you so much for listening through the year. We've had such a wonderful viewership. The audience is growing, supporting artists and supporting great ideas and finding, contexts of debate. It's been fantastic. So thank you for following. We will see you in the new year. Have a great new year. Have a safe Christmas. And, don't forget, we will be back. And while you're there, when you're visiting, subscribe. You've been watching the Pagey Train. Thank you very much. And we'll see you next time. Weird outro, but I did okay.
It's over and done with. We're fine now.
Yeah, we've got to do the promo stuff, though. You're not